Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We got to get right to it. Texas puts a whipping on the Zags. We'll get to that coming up here momentarily, but also at the top of the 5 o'clock. We also got to get to big news in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles, man, they are going all in. Capitals, all in, right? All caps, baby. That's what they're doing. We'll get into that coming up in the next segment. We'll also talk about the Texans making an acquisition for the wide receiver room. Also getting to who's going to start versus the Texans in that Washington Commanders matchup coming up. We got your flex at 3:45. We'll also got Texas versus Kansas. We'll preview and break that down coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock and also the top of the 6 o'clock. Thursday night football tonight between the Packers and the Titans. And we'll break that down as well coming up at 6:30. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 and chase his dream and the cheese. Pippin ain't easy, but for him, it's a breeze. He is Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
We're ready to turn it up, turn it up. We're getting close to that weekend. We had so much fun last night at the Mood. I can actually say it was a mood last night. But let me tell you about my homie that sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rob Babers.
I appreciate the intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. Also the Idealionaire. We don't know what he's paid. We do know that he's underpaid. Also, he was working last night, and also putting in double duty because he was doing analysis, which will be coming up for you momentarily. My man Patrick Davis. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Hard to be doing bad after a win like that last night. Kicking off revenge week, right?
Wow.
There it is.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
like that.
Got that Yardbird coming up next, man. We'll talk about them Kansas Jayhawks. Texas basketball rules the day, gentlemen. We were all there representing, so shout out to Ball Don't Lie. I did see CDC.
All right.
So I had to let them know, hey, man, we're here representing in a sporting capacity. All right.
Not just Chris Rock.
Not just here. All right, for the great entertainment that the Mood provides. But here we're here for the team. And also, we weren't the only ones, man. It was jam-packed. It was a great environment. I'll say that I haven't been around. I don't go to a lot of basketball games, so you guys have probably been to more basketball games than me. But I've not been around a Texas basketball game with that kind of energy and that kind of vibe. It was next level. That was next level.
Absolutely.
If you can provide that kind of environment week in and week out, that is truly going to be a home court advantage for Texas. There's no doubt it was an advantage.
The one thing that I took away from it is Chris Beard, what he wanted, he got. Whatever he was working for to create a college basketball atmosphere, it didn't get any better than this. I've been in there. You've been in there for big-time games. We've seen him play North Carolina. We've seen him play Duke. We've seen him play all these different teams. But last night was one of the most electric games that I have been to from start to finish, starting with the pregame. You know, because I wanted to make sure that I got there early. Remember I told you, I was like, I'm going to get there early because I want to take it all in because we were called bums for not being there before. So when we got there, we walked around and I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to the music that's playing. And then you walk in and all those kids are there. And what I mean by kids, the students.
Oh, yeah.
The students, the people that are in the same class as you. Rob Babers, the guys that were sitting next to you that were cheering you on, you were part of that last night. You got a chance to see your classmates perform on the highest level, and you were a part of the success that they achieved. Yeah, it's not going to be every single week where you're going to be able to win every game at home, but you're bringing energy to a place that has needed it for such a long time.
Yeah,
It's a cozy atmosphere.
Yeah, no, it's obviously Chris Beard did a great job, forming that connection, that bond with the student body.
Yeah.
A man that was there even before you, Harge, was my man Patrick Davis there to set up.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on what you witnessed?
I mean, that is, and that's the thing, is it's one of those, like, I can try and tell people how much different it is at the Irwin Center.
Yep.
And you can be like, no, they did a really good job. And people are like, oh, no, it's probably a good job. You're like, no. This changed from a home court that was somewhat of a joke, where people were like, man, and I mean, Chris Beard's first year, they helped it some.
Yeah.
But you went, man, there was always donors and stuff sitting in the front couple rows that didn't go to games. There's always empty seats in the front.
Mm-hmm.
There was always stuff like, there's just people that weren't really cheering much. You had, and you get kids up there, which is great. But you got an 8-year-old kid. He's not going to bring the volume that is going to scare a college basketball player.
Yeah.
And so there was just a lot more of that. And you go, this new building with what they're doing, the atmosphere they put together, you can't undersell that it took Texas from, hey, man, no, it's, they're a good basketball team, to, oh, no, this is going to be one of the scarier places to play. When you talk about that defense all that team has right now with Chris Beard, to that atmosphere, the crowd getting behind it, Texas is going to jump up in the ratings because you just whooped number 2.
Whooped.
You're like, just keep winning basketball games, and that building is going to keep being crazy. I don't know if y'all saw at the beginning, too. Student section, they had the overflow. Mm-hmm. Y'all see the overflow?
Oh, yeah, I love that. I kept talking about it.
Standing room only.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a game last night. Those people are still standing up there going.
That's fantastic.
And at the end of the game, minute left. You're like, man, because they came in that first game at UTEP, they were there, and then he saw thin out a little bit. You're like, yeah, they don't want to stand up there the whole game. You're playing UTEP. It's not that good of a game.
Yeah, this
one, they were up there the whole time. Like, man, if you can keep that going.
Yeah. No, it is fantastic. I'd recommend to try to make sure that you prioritize getting out to Moody to watch this team, because on top of the atmosphere being fantastic and the facility being great, top notch, the team, gentlemen, also may be better than the actual facilities, which are top-notch. This is a top-notch team. At least they have a really high ceiling. We know that. It's going to be a long college basketball season. 93-74 win over the Zags, and I believe it was 11,313 people in attendance. I believe that's the attendance they threw out there. But you had several fantastic performances. Obviously, the headliner for Longhorn fans, and just kind of looking at how everything worked out, to me, and you can get to the individual performances, but the defense, to me, it kind of set the tone.
Yes.
Got them back in the game early. They ended up forcing 20 turnovers in the game, and you talked about how they had to match up with Drew Timme, Harge, and they threw everything at him.
They did.
They threw everything at him. They double-teamed him situationally. They did try to force him out of the post, made it tough to the entry passes into the post for him, just made his life hell. Made him work. My man Patrick brought up making him work on both ends of the court. They did that too. It was a great game plan versus Drew Timme.
Yep.
No question.
And the thing about it is, you look at his line, and, he was 7 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 9 total rebounds. But it was the hardest 18 points that he may have gotten all season. They forced him to turn the ball over 5 times.
That was big.
He looked frustrated, and he looked like he was getting tired because of the fact they just kept throwing body after body. And anytime he got the ball on the block, you talked about it before, Patrick, and you and I were sitting here saying they can't go with the same game plan they went with last year.
Yeah.
They had a year to see exactly what they can do.
They watched the film.
And the most important part about it is he does not have the complementary players that he had before. So for you to say, you to see that and recognize that and say, hey, man, I'm throwing everything I can at him, kitchen sink, come down, back door. There were plenty of times it looked like they wanted him to go baseline because of the way that they were playing him defensively. They were like, yeah, let him have that baseline spin. But as soon as he would spin to go to the baseline, somebody would come there. There was somebody coming from the backside. They played him. This is where you talk about understanding the game plan and executing it.
Schematic advantage.
They did it schematically.
Yeah.
They drew it up, and they made sure that everybody understood their role. And the other part about it is everybody bought into their role.
They did.
They did. And, I mean, if you talk about guarding Drew Timme, I think the amazing thing they did last night, and they did it very well because they didn't get beat on it too much, was they overplayed the passing lane
Exactly.
the entire game to be like, look, we're not even going to let you get the ball. Because if you get position, now you're far enough in. We know they got to throw it 10, 15 feet. We're just going to sit in the middle and pick that ball off and then 15 feet.
Yep.
And we're going to slide off a guy in the corner. We're going to slide off a guy at the top and make you pop back out. And then they stole a couple when he's at the top of the key.
Yeah.
And they just overplay him because they go, Timme, you're not fast enough and athletic enough to drive to the paint before we can get a
Exactly.
body in there and
Exactly.
stand in front of you. So we'll overplay passes there. And there was a couple fast breaks.
It was.
Where they just stole the
What'd I
ball that
say?
way. But that's overplaying the inbound to say, look, we know if you get the ball, because basically, he was still 7-10. When he got the ball where he wanted to get it,
Yeah.
he scored.
Which he did early on.
Yeah.
You got
and
some of that.
that's- He scored.
Yeah.
And so you just go, we can't let him do that. So either Brock Cunningham gets in foul trouble in the second half because he's trying to bump him out, and clearly at halftime the refs decided Brock was playing a little too physical doing that.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
they got him in
junkyard
foul
dog,
trouble.
baby.
Yep.
But I mean, Brock Cunningham's first half, amazing.
It was.
And
he
so-
basically started a run all by himself.
Yeah.
he ignited a run on his
George,
own.
George was out there getting it in.
Yeah, you
The
know.
George was in there.
All right, but obviously, other than the defense, which was that's the identity of a Chris Beard team. Obviously, gentlemen, Tyrese Hunter, career high for him.
Smooth.
He is, man. He is his basketball like he's the pace setter. Mm-hmm. He just kind of sets the pace.
Yeah.
But not only a pace setter that can score.
Man.
A true, she's talking about a true point guard, and you can tell it's a very different offense, gentlemen. When you do have a guy who does have the ability to not only set the pace, but he's got the burst
Yep.
to be able to penetrate. But also, I mean, he can get a bucket.
Yeah, he's legit, and this is something too that I heard Jerry Hamilton this morning with B&E talking about it, and this is something that you and I and Patrick we talk the basketball, we pay attention to basketball, but we're not fully into basketball yet. These guys are fully into it. The one thing that he brought up that I thought was so poignant. Texas has 3 point guards that have led their teams in the college playoffs, in the NCAA tournament, to the second round. So if one is off, when we knew this for years, there's some times that Texas has been there that if their point guard isn't playing well, the rest of the team struggles. Now we have 3 point guards that could bring something different if the other one is not prepared and playing well. You know, we talked about Marcus Carr moving over to the 2 guard. He played great last night.
He did play
I
well.
said it before we left yesterday. I was like, if this dude can go out there and get his. Talked about Dylan Dessou. But talking about Tyrese Hunter, you're looking at a guy that is a premier point guard, a premier scoring point guard, but also he is the pace setter of what you're trying to do. And I was watching Sabiri Rice yesterday. I mean, this guy, he didn't play his best offensive game, but his length caused so many problems, to Patrick's point, in the passing lanes that guys couldn't get comfortable. So a credit to what they were prepared to see and them going out and executing it. But the point guard position, I think we're in good hands with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, Marcus Carr, he shot so poorly in this building. And to come out and just be like, I just need the right opponent.
Yeah,
I just need to get it up for
my
it.
energy was right.
Yeah, because Tyrese
Yeah.
Hunter we knew could do big things. I mean, that was next level.
Yep.
But yeah, when you add that in with Marcus Carr and you
Yep.
can't, like, that's always the deal. Is most of these teams you have one guy that's supposed to be your more defensive stopper of a guard. Mm-hmm. And if you can have 2 to 3 guards that can score,
Oh my goodness.
they're like, what am I supposed to do? I have to put my scoring guard on one of your guys.
Right.
And now he's tired because he's chasing Marcus Carr around.
Yep.
Because Tyrese Hunter's got 30, so I can't take him off of there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it's
just
a problem.
Yeah, it's when that offense rolls like that, this team will be almost unbeatable.
Especially when you're hitting the 3.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
hitting
If
the
you're
3,
shooting that well, that offense rolls like that,
And
that defense we know will be there. So if your offense rolls like
Yes.
that, you're golden.
The best thing about it, though, this team, you know, and I heard Jerry Hamilton talk about this too. Even the way they're constructed now, they don't need the 3 to win.
No.
But when if they got
got
the 3
it,
on,
Hey,
it's not a lot of teams that can play
And
with
how
them.
about Dylan Dessou
Yeah.
comes in? He shot a couple threes last year, and basically, I think Chris Beard had pulled his
Hey.
3-point card and was like, "Hey man, you don't get to shoot those anymore.
Right.
Like you're open for a reason. Stop shooting them." He
got-
comes out in this one, and he got the card back. said, "Look, don't shoot him in the first couple games because we don't
Don't
want
show
them,
it, Chad.
we don't want
them
to have
to
film
see
on
it.
this.
That's right.
But we want to pull Drew Timmy. We want to pull them out and stretch them out to get more, ability to go to the basket. And he barely missed that first one, hits the second one,
Ooh.
and you see everybody like, oh, if he can do that,
Yeah.
if he can do that now,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that actually. That was nice. And something else to get into. We talked about the defense, but something else you talked about yesterday specifically, Harsh, fast break points.
Yes.
Getting out in transition.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they had a 12-2
Yes.
advantage in fast break points.
Yeah.
I mean they've been suffocating
And those were
teams.
dunks,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, that's some nice.
They had
alley-oop.
some
Dylan
dunks.
Mitchell is a dunk machine right
Yeah,
now. We
yeah.
got to give him a dunk name.
all right, what I tell you, that
Dunk
boy can
nickname or
jump.
something. Yeah,
I told him, I'm texting my buddy last night, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, you watch him, he gets those 2 alley-oops, and then he gets the putback dunk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where he just elevates.
I think all of his baskets were dunks. Right?
Yeah, 'cause
he
he
was 4 and
wasn't-
5. He was 4
he
and
wasn't
5 with
getting
dunks.
Dunk.
he wasn't getting
loose.
loose early in the game,
Yeah.
and then later in the game, he showed what he could do and showed, hey, man, this is a freshman that has a lot of potential.
And I like that he contributes, though. He'll be a junkyard dog for you.
Oh,
Got
for
9
sure.
rebounds.
He knows his
He
position.
had double-digit rebounds in the first half of the last game.
Yeah.
Like, he's a great rebounder as well.
He's got great timing. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that's innate for a rebounder. Some guys just got the time. They know when to jump. And if you're a freak jumper, you can,
Well,
kinda
and that was he had a
change
play
it up,
early
too.
in the game
Yeah.
where they hit him with an alley-oop or a pass-off, and he's basically running and then jumps off of it and almost dunks off of a thing where 95% of people wouldn't be able to even jump.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of fall forward.
Yeah.
And he got to, half-inch away from being able to dunk it in.
He's some
it's next
superhuman
level.
stuff. Yeah, he's not going to be here for long, right? He's
Yeah,
I mean,
he's one of
you're
those guys.
lucky. You're lucky
Yeah.
if you get a second year out of him. Let's put it that way.
There you go. Yeah. The one thing I think we were all concerned about, specifically, I remember Patrick bringing this up as well, and we talked about the size advantage for the Zags schematically and just with the intensity and the effort. They really weren't able to maximize or exploit a size advantage against Texas.
No.
They did out rebound them by like 4 rebounds, but you could not tell. I mean, it
No.
was that size advantage did not seem obvious out there at the time because Texas has such it seemed like Texas has such an athleticism advantage too, and they were just a faster
Well,
team.
and Texas got more shots up.
Yeah.
Like that was the
They
thing
did.
is there was a lot of turnovers early in that game. And so
Easy
Texas was
buckets.
getting those shots up. And so Texas there was a couple where they got blocks that weren't necessarily counted as field goals because they got the ball out before the shot really went up. There was a couple of those plays and a couple steals early. So you go, yeah, the rebounding advantage could change, but it's also there was more defensive rebounds to be had by Gonzaga.
Yeah. And the thing, too, and we talked about this yesterday before we left, and I was like, you got to get those easy buckets. And that's exactly what they did. You talked about the fast break points and the 12-2. And the other thing I kept saying was don't let them have second chances. Don't let them get that. And what did Texas have? They had 12 points on second chance buckets, and Gonzaga had 10 points on those second chance buckets. Those are the things that will help you win ball games.
Yeah.
Don't let them have those extra possessions to be able to get an easy bucket during that time. I was totally impressed with everything that they did from start to finish. They were getting some buckets and some easy shots out of timeouts. That was so impressive to me. And I to this day, I say when they came out from halftime and they ran that play for a dunk, if he would have dunked that and he missed it, when they came out of halftime, if he would have dunked that, that place, the roof would have came off of that place because everybody was ready. We all saw it happening. We saw it drawn up, and we were like, oh, my God, he's about to break this rim. And it was like, ooh, you got lucky, man.
It
You
did
got
feel like
lucky.
that though for those Dylan Mitchell dunks though, those alley oops.
Well, and that was a big thing. You talk about coming out in that second half was you talk winning teams. You play very well at the beginning of the game. You play well to close halves.
Yep.
They closed the first half well. They opened that second half. And when Gonzaga came out and made adjustments and tried to fix things and tried to basically double down on getting Drew Timmy the ball, tried all those things, Texas never let him get that run in.
Yeah.
And that was big to the couple times. And that was for the crowd as well. You saw the crowd a couple times early in that second half kind of get diminished, and Chris Beard and everybody started being
hyping him
like,
up.
hey, man, we're on defense. Get
Yeah.
out. I know we missed our last 3 shots. we really need you right now because that's a run if they get 6 points in a row.
Well, I think they're still working on training the crowd.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
The crowd. We just Texas basketball fans, we just don't know.
No, but it was
how
good that
to be-
you'd see
yeah.
when Chris Beard would do that. There's like people in the student section that are making sure everybody else goes. So as soon as he puts his arms up, the student section goes nuts.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the crowd goes, oh, okay.
yeah.
But it's good that he's got a student section that knows, like, hey, man, I know you're all still getting trained, but when I give you a little signal, you guys know to
It's
go
time to go.
crazy.
Let's
And
get it
then
hype.
now the crowd can go.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. I remember those moments too, and I remember seeing Chris Beard getting the crowd. I'm like, hey guys, let's go. We need this. We need this
Yeah,
energy.
I loved it.
It's a little
No.
low energy in here right
Yeah,
now.
We're
It's
on
helping the
defense.
Zags.
Like, they're giving it's confidence for them. When you quiet a crowd on offense,
exactly.
it's confident. You're like,
Anytime
oh,
you're
now
on
I
the
feel
road,
good.
any sport on the road,
Yeah.
and you quiet the crowd, that's what you're trying to do. Like, oh, yeah, that's good, baby. We got the crowd crying. No, I'm with you on that 100%. And how about? I think it's great. It's not obviously good for Timmy Allen, but it does show the depth of this team already and how loaded they are. I mean, your leading scorer from last season really didn't help you. You didn't need him to really help you, but
No.
he didn't help you offensively at all.
Yeah.
He gave you a contribution: 6 rebounds, 3 assists, steal, a block.
Played good defense.
Yeah, I'm
he
saying,
played good.
he
Yeah,
contributed, but
yeah.
offensively, he didn't contribute, and you didn't need him.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't need him.
No, and
That's how
but-
deep you are
But
offensively.
that's where I think Timmy Allen is going to be used if he can play at the next level. Is that guy? It's like, you're never going to be the leading scorer because you're 6'6" and you're not a guard.
Right.
But
Right.
if we can get you to be able to kind of play in a role where you help everything and you're a glue guy, and you're just one of the best glue guys in the country, then that's what Timmy Allen can really thrive at because he can do everything.
Is Marcus Carr's 20-pound weight loss a big reason for it? Did he look different to you guys?
He did. I mean, his game looks the same. He dribbles the same. He
game looks
moves
the
the
same,
same. I don't know. We'll see later. I think it's going to help him later because he's not going to be tired later in the season because of the weight loss.
Yeah.
You know as well
I thought
as
he
I
looked
do.
different, but he doesn't look different.
But he doesn't
in
look
person. I was like,
different.
he
No.
doesn't look different. He must have carried it really well.
He did
To
carry
lose that
it
much
well.
weight. I thought-
He just doesn't look as round as he did. He
Yeah.
still looks strong.
Maybe he's just not as thick.
He's not
if
as
he got,
thick in
but-
the stomach and the lat area.
Maybe in the core.
The core.
Maybe he lost a lot of
yeah,
it.
he looks great though. And
No, he looks good,
And
man.
I love the way that he continuously moves at his own pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he controls himself with the basketball. Those are some of the things that I always talk to my sons about is like, you dictate it. You're the point guard.
Yeah, he's very deliberate.
You are the ones
Yeah.
that everybody goes after.
Yeah.
So you can either be fast or you can be calm and move it at a decent pace to where your teammates understand, all right, this is where he is right now, so this is how we need to move. He was at that point last night, and the way that they were moving without the basketball, I loved it because that's what I always look at the guys that don't have the ball because I want to see what's going on with the screening. I want to see how they're acting to get open without the basketball. And I ran into Dylan Dessou's mom and dad right before the game, and I said, I was talking about him on the radio today. I told him, this is an NBA game for you. And his dad goes, oh, yeah. He understands the mission tonight. And I was like, okay.
Oh, no, we
mission
were in
tonight.
the elevator with Dylan Dessou after the game. He goes, we're like, good game, Dylan. He goes, yeah, Coach Beard's going to downplay it, but I know he cares.
That's awesome. That's
I know
awesome.
He cares.
Yeah.
He certainly does. No
For
question
sure.
about that.
And so do the fans because they showed up and they showed out for you. So continue this movement, Texas basketball. It is fun. It was fun to be there. It was fun with the people around me.
It was great.
They were having a blast, and it's always good when you're on the winning side of that thing.
No, it was fantastic. No. And Mark Few, here's Mark Few's words about the Longhorns. He said, they don't have a weakness. They don't have a weak spot.
Right.
Another quote from him was, that's a really, 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 really good team. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
He did. He seemed in awe,
Yeah.
actually. He seemed kind of awestruck.
Well, because
towards the
he's
end
been
there.
in different arenas and he's never seen Texas like
Well,
this.
they've also, since Drew Timmy's been there, it's also, 7-8 games, something like that?
Yeah, remember I told you
But they-
since 2018 they are 125-12 now.
I would love to see the margin of victory, or let's say defeat, I should say, in those 12
to
games.
get
It's
blown
never
out
been like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Because the Zags don't get
And
beat
I
like
mean,
that.
like, it was close for the first 10 minutes. And
Yeah,
then Texas
Texas
basically
was
went on
down.
a run.
Right?
Yeah,
They
there
were
was a
down like
couple
7.
lead changes there. And Texas went on a run with about 10, 12 minutes gone in the game, right? and they basically hold it from there on out. You don't have a second half where you're like, oh man, we need to go, and then you just never get close in the second half.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing for a good team.
I kept waiting for the run.
We all did.
It's like, okay, it's gonna be. I told my wife, I said, "That's gonna be a run here." Don't. I said, "Don't worry,
that's
it's
why
gonna be a
that
run."
crowd was so amped. Is because no one in that crowd thought it was over
Yeah.
until
like
Drew Timmy sat
over.
down.
Yeah.
When Drew Timmy sat down at the end, we're like, "Oh, that's the white flag."
I'm with you. I kept waiting for the run. I was like, "That's gonna be a run. This is Zags, man. They're gonna have a run."
Somebody sent me
No
a
run.
text and said this was the worst loss in Gonzaga. I think since Mark Few's been there, I think this was the worst.
So say we got,
loss.
yeah. I was gonna say
Somebody
we
sent
gotta
me
do
a
the
text
official
last
because
night. I gotta find it.
I don't watch a ton of college basketball, but I don't see the Zags
Yeah.
get beat like that. And I got friends who now through my wife who are big Zags fans, and they were, dude.
They were,
Oh,
they were probably
they
distraught.
Were hurt.
Yeah.
They were hurt.
Dude, I told you they were thunderstruck.
Oh, and thank you for warning me about that. That I gotta say, now I feel like an old man doing Thunderstruck. I literally had to like close my eyes. It was gonna trigger my epilepsy. I had to close my eyes and put my head down. I was like, whoa, this was some earplugs.
I
in there?
literally had just
Wow.
walked out to go get something to drink,
Man.
and I as soon as it started hitting, I was talking to somebody, and I go, "You know, we're about to get thunderstruck."
Oh, I'm glad I know the warning because I'm gonna run back to the club next time. I'm sprinting back, gotta get out of here for Thunderstruck. Man, you're right. That's intimidating, even for me, an old man. But the Horns are expected to be number one in the Ken Palm ratings. Someone says Zach's worst loss since 2014.
Yeah, I knew somebody
Wow.
sent it to me. I was
Man.
like, I knew it was one of the worst.
That's crazy. And third career coaching win for Beard versus an AP top 2 ranked team.
Yeah, he's a beast.
The only 2 coaches who have 3 such wins since 2017, 2018 over top 2 ranked teams by the AP are Coach K and Coach Beard.
That's I love it.
I don't do this very often, but I'm going to do it for the Texas basketball team
Yeah.
and for the Moody. Standing ovation.
Oh, let's do it. I'm down with
Standing
that.
ovation.
I'm down
we don't
with
do
that.
it very often.
That's right.
Standing ovation.
I'm with you.
Hey, CDC, damn good job with the mood.
Yeah.
Texas basketball. That was a religious experience.
It definitely was.
It felt religious. It really did. I
saw you ride.
I was
and you were,
moved.
you
I really
you
was.
were.
I was like, whoa, this is. I had chills.
Yeah,
at one
you were
point.
smiling. I was like, man, I could see my boy down there. I'm looking at you. You were like,
was good, man.
Man, the energy.
It
I mean, the
was.
hustle.
Yeah.
The plays on the sideline, diving for the ball. I mean, it was just one of those things that, okay, I see why Chris Beard is the way that he is.
And why he wanted the environment
why
to be
he wanted that
the way. It's like,
environment.
no, I
Yeah.
need it. Because, as Patrick pointed out, it does feed his culture, which is defense.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if it was an offensive culture, it actually would be a little different. And he's got, obviously, guys that can score, but he's got a defensive culture, and it does have a natural connection with the home court advantage. You can feed it.
And you would think that Frank Irwin Center holds, 5,000 more people, 4,000 more people than were in there last night?
Yeah.
And it never got that loud.
Now, when I was in there, I went there to see North Carolina and
Yeah,
some
I
others.
was there,
Some
too.
big ones, Kansas and the
Yeah,
big ones.
That's
No.
what I'm saying. It never got that one. So having the less people, I think, helps because it
Yeah.
makes it more intense.
Yeah, no.
It definitely was intense.
That was intense, man. That was, like I said, great job. Shout out to CDC. I did see him, and I told him, hey,
Yep.
ball don't lie, represent. Hey, I was sitting next to Brett Yormark.
Yeah.
I sat next to the Big 12. I didn't realize when I sat down, I was like, I literally was about to ask, dude, are you Brett Yormark? And I was like, no, that's definitely him. And I Googled him, and he was there. I'm assuming because he was probably talking to some Zags officials.
Yeah.
About
Their mutual interest in the Big 12, that kind of thing.
And y'all talk about me
Yeah.
and where I be sitting.
Nah, Harsh don't every day about
my
it.
man was sitting with the
I didn't realize
Pac-12
he had
the
a
Big
big
12
well, because
commissioner.
it was a big black dude next to us,
Of
and then
course.
it was him, and I was like, "Who's it?" And I think he was like a bodyguard.
He
I don't know
was.
who he was.
I know there was another guy in town that works for the NCAA
Oh,
tournament
maybe
committee.
that was him.
So he was there because I know he sat by us over at the table before.
Okay,
so
maybe
I
that
saw
was
him
him.
before the game talking to Fran Fraschilla.
Yeah, and that could have been him too then, because he looked really official. But then I saw Yormark on the side. I was like, "Hey!" And I told him, "Congratulations, man." And I said, "Everybody is looking forward to your leadership in the Big 12."
Leadership is understood right now.
Yeah, no
You
doubt.
know what I'm
no
saying?
doubt. All right, let's get to the break. That was a nice Texas basketball segment. We'll have a lot of those coming up this season. All right, we got to talk about the biggest signing in the NFL, at least in the last week or so. Philadelphia Eagles, they done it again. They signed a boy named Sue. They're going all in, all caps. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite new tequila, Hot Cat Tequila. As a matter of fact, before I headed over to the Mood, we hit the ride share to the Mood, I had a couple of shots of Hot Cat Tequila. Put me in the right mood, if you will. And the cat stands for cinnamon, agave nectar, and tequila. And the recipe just as simple and just as brilliant. It is cinnamon, agave nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light and so smooth. As a matter of fact, it can be too smooth. This is a tequila lover's dream, folks. Trust me. And if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. Hot Cat Tequila will turn every event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you won't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. Turn up your party, turn up your tailgate with Hot Cat Tequila. No football tailgate or watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for the big game, or concerts, festivals, or a night on the town with family and friends. Hot Cat Tequila is best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks when you're just trying to chill or throw something on the grill. Visit cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila, or find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Or when you're at your favorite bar or at your favorite liquor store, ask for Hot Cat Tequila. Turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. So based on the selections, the songs that are played by my man Patrick, Harge and I are supposed to guess what the new theme of the day is. Should we silence the text line? Or do we think they gonna guess
I
it?
don't know if they'll get it. I mean,
You don't know if they'll get
I think if they throw out 20 guesses, they'll probably get it at one of them.
I think if we throw out 20 guesses, we're going to get them.
All right. Yeah. All right. You know what? I'm going to silence it for like one segment here.
All right.
All right. Keep texting in 512-337-3776. But Harge and I want to try to play fair and try to test our intellect here, which is not a good thing.
I was going to say, that's going to be a tough
always
one.
a test that's usually end up with a failing grade. All right. You can always hit us up via Twitter. I've been Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. Okay. We'll try to throw out another guess when we get to the next break as to what the new theme of New Theme Thursday is. Okay, my man Harge is upset about this. He sent it to me, and even when he sent the text to us via our group text, you could tell it was sent in anger and frustration.
It was sent in anger.
I could tell. The Philadelphia Eagles, division rivals with Harge's Dallas Cowboys, have decided to sign Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year mercenary deal. And yesterday, Harge brought up and suggested that the Cowboys should sign Ndamukong Suh.
Why, Rod? Why in the world would I decide that would be the best thing for the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know. Maybe the same reason that the Philadelphia Eagles decided they should sign Ndamukong. Because they can't stop the run.
I like the way you say his first name.
Ndamukong.
It's very scary, man.
Yeah, because that's what he is.
Scary.
He's very scary.
No, you're right about that. They do. How about this? If you look at it, because Washington, of course, were able to run the football and control the clock. They ran the football so effectively that they controlled 40 minutes time of possession, which is crazy. So Philly now has allowed 124 yards rushing to Arizona, 134 to Dallas, 144 yards rushing to Pittsburgh. You go look at the Texans. Sorry.
Yes.
I know the Texans, they made it interesting. But they had 168 yards rushing against Philadelphia, and then of course Washington had 152. So you great minds think alike. You could be in the NFL front office, Harge, because you're like, you know what, our rush defense sucks. Probably need to go get Ndamukong Suh. Now I will say the Cowboys, remember they traded for Jonathan Hankins, and he has been, when they played him, he's been really effective for their rush defense. He only played like 30-something snaps versus the Packers.
But if we can't get one, why not get two for Ndamukong Suh?
Now,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You need some help in there.
Well, because Jordan Davis is still on the IR for them.
Still on the IR.
And when Jordan Davis was healthy, they were only allowing, when he was in the game, 4.3 yards per rush with 2.2 yards after contact per rush. Without Jordan Davis, though, Philadelphia Eagles' rush defense has become a basically piece of wet toilet paper. They've been allowed over 6 yards per rush and almost 3 yards after contact per rush.
Yeah.
So you and the Cowboys and Eagles have the same affliction, pretty much. They have the same weakness in Achilles' heel, their rush defense.
Which is why you go out and get a guy that is on the free agent market. Like he said about OBJ. There's no team, there's no trade. He controls the keys to this situation. So did Ndamukong. You don't think he wanted to have a star on his head at some point in his life? Now he's looking at you as another person that has said, I can't believe Jerry didn't come after me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to raise hell in his division.
Oh, man.
When you have those opportunities, I don't care if he's at the end of his career. He's a mercenary deal.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
Get him for the mercenary. You're going to tell me every week we talk about how much money the Cowboys haven't spent because we're saving it for the cap. What cap? What is the purpose? Why are you not going after players that have been to the Super Bowl and won? Give yourself an opportunity. You can't tell me we're going to win championships if you're not willing to take a chance like the Philadelphia Eagles are. The Philadelphia Eagles have told us,
They're going all
F
in.
them picks.
All in, baby.
We going all in
All
on
in,
it.
all caps, all in.
Yes.
All caps, all in.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, mean they meant that.
There you go. Yeah, they
Say
are.
it with your chest.
Yeah, they are. They going all in, man. They got what they see as a hole in their roster. They fixing it immediately. They're going to get a guy.
Immediately.
Let's go get a guy. Let's trade for a guy.
And
They're
that is
aggressive.
the thing that has got me to this side of it of saying Cowboys are dragging their feet. We want to talk a big game. Jerry's out here selling wolf tickets is what he's doing right now. He's selling wolf tickets. He wants you to believe so you could keep buying that merchandise, so you could keep showing up and buying them tickets, parking in that lot that costs $100. They want you in there spending that money
Yep.
because he's selling you this dream that is not reality.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
they are going all in. Now, Philadelphia may fall flat on their face and Dallas may do something, but they can never be accused of not going for it.
I agree with that. You
They
can't
will
accuse them of
never be
No.
accused of not going for it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And they've done this multiple times, actually. We've watched the Philadelphia Eagles do this, and sometimes it has failed. Remember the dream team that
yeah.
VY was on? Remember that dream team?
Oh,
thing?
yeah, when BY said, oh, it was our dream. I mean, what, man? Come on.
Didn't work out.
No.
But I love that Philadelphia, every few years or so, they figure, F it.
Let's go for
Let's
it.
go.
Let's go for it. Let's make something happen.
And then last year when they made the playoffs with Jalen Hurts and and a new head coach, Nick Sirianni, they were probably thinking, man, we're not going to make the playoffs. And, man, we made the playoffs?
Right.
Hold on, what if we just add some more pieces?
Add a piece
And
here,
let's
add a piece
let's
there.
assume, let's be positive, and let's assume this young quarterback's going to get better. Let's just assume. He says he's working real hard. Let's assume he gets better.
It's a great
And,
point, man.
Hell, man, he got better. He got
That's a
much
great
better.
point.
And now, man, all those additions they made, and they got him a receiver.
Yeah.
And
They went and they brought in, what? Didn't they just get Robert Quinn, too?
Oh man,
Right.
I forgot all about that.
Thank you.
Forgot about the Quinn thing.
No,
Remember they got
I did not.
Remember they traded for C.J. Gardner Johnson,
Yes.
who is now one of the league leaders in
Ballin'.
interceptions.
Ballin'.
Yeah. They all the acquisitions that they made, not all of them, but a lot of them have worked out really, really well for them.
Yeah.
And you're right, the Robert Quinn one, man, they slipped my mind. Forgot all about
Yeah.
it.
And don't forget, they just signed Linval Joseph
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
He became another player for them. So
They know.
They
They
where
know
are
they're
they
close.
going? They know that they just got gashed.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, we're not doing that anymore. Howie Roseman is like, what you want? What you need, coach? All right, let's go get him.
Yep.
I'm going to help you out as best I can right now.
No, you're right about that. The Cowboys. The Cowboys' rush defense and a lot of their issues, I would say, are on the edge too. But it wouldn't help to have another stout run defender in there, especially on a mercenary deal. Hell, even Robert Quinn, remember, he voided his contract, so he's basically essentially now on a contract year 2 on a mercenary deal.
Thank you.
Because he voided his deal.
Yeah,
So they got
because
two.
I want you to rent me so I can go get
I'm
my
having a great
paper
year.
later.
Yeah. And if we go win this Super Bowl, I'm
Yeah.
really gonna cash in.
Oh, man.
Philly.
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah, no, it's a good move by Philly. It really is a good move by them because it works out for both parties. Ndamukong Suh, he wants to increase his value, and you know what? I'll say this. I might get into this in Raj Rand of the day actually. In a league now where teams, well, just teams period, teams are actually. I remember I went through this earlier. They're averaging 4.5 yards per rush. You realize that number right now is the highest number in NFL history.
Yeah.
Teams are running the ball more and more at a higher frequency, I should say, and running it with more success than they ever have. All right. And it's crazy. Yards per completion actually is down to like the lowest number since 1933.
Yeah.
Which is changing what positions are valuable on defense because now if teams start running the rock more, you're defending the run.
Yes.
You're defending the run,
Yep.
right? So you need run defenders. And because you were defending so much of the pass, and so many pass-happy teams in previous years, you went to more hybrid defenders and guys who could operate in space, what I call space, kind of these spread babies, right? But now, you may need to go back kind of old school to get some of those natural run defenders, the big bodies inside. And like Jonathan Hankins,
Yeah.
and like Ndamukong Suh, because everybody's running the rock.
So they just got Joseph, they got Fletcher Cox, they got Jordan, Davis, Javon Hargrove, now in Domicon, Milton Williams, Derek Barnett, and Taron Jackson, Brandon Graham,
That's what I'm saying. Don't forget about Graham.
Robert Quinn.
Yeah, they might have the best D-line in the league right now. I know San Fran's in that discussion too, but
That's what I'm saying. I mean, are you not paying attention to the landscape of your own division?
yeah, you got to look at that ecosystem.
Thank
And
you.
You got to survive your own ecosystem before you can think about going to play in the divisional
Right,
round.
you're trying
or the
to go
conference championships.
yes.
No, you better get out your ecosystem. It's like same thing I said about Texas and the Big 12. Like, don't be thinking about college football playoff stuff till you learn how to
Till you
win the Big
this one.
12.
Exactly.
Learn how to conquer this ecosystem
I'm with
first.
you, man.
It's a good point though. Okay, really quick update. The game between the Bills, right?
Yep,
It's the Bills and who is it, right quick?
The Cleveland.
Thank you very much.
Cleveland!
Bills and the Browns
Yeah.
has been moved because of a snowstorm in
Correct.
Buffalo to Detroit.
Yep.
And that's because you said they lose the home game.
They lose the home
Basically,
game
the Bills-
because of that.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
they
hey,
need it right now.
But there's 17 games in the season now. We just added another one, so it'll be back to even.
Nah.
I'm like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah, but then you got to play in Detroit.
You got to play in
Like, a lot of
Detroit.
places, I'd rather go play somewhere than play in Detroit.
Well, at least Detroit can now cheer for a winning team.
Yeah.
So they can go.
Well done there,
Come
sir.
on down.
Well done.
Come on down.
All right, we'll come back. We got your flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Hart here, and I want to talk to you about Nexivo Naturals. Today's world is full of stressful situations. Like right now, the Dallas Cowboys not picking up defensive linemen has got me stressed out. And also my family and obviously work every single day. So it's hard for you to turn off your mind when you're getting ready to go to sleep. Let me talk to you about my friends at Nexivo Naturals Triple Action CBD Sleep product. I have family members that have now ordered it, and they've taken it, and they've loved the results as well. I can tell you about it all the time. It starts with the fast-acting SmartSorb CBD to calm your mind, and then it adds a fast-acting melatonin to get you to sleep fast. Plus, it's got the controlled release melatonin so you can sleep longer and wake up refreshed. Nexivo is the only brand to be able to blend all of these ingredients into one product. Make sure you try out the strawberry-flavored Sleep Support CBD Gummy Complex to help you fall asleep quicker. I use it, as I've told you before, and I think you will be impressed with it as well. You can get a better night's rest and be fresher the next day with the products from Nexivo Naturals. For up to 25% off subscription orders of $40 or more, use the promo code HORN at Nexivo.com. That's NEXTEVO.com, promo code HORN.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for a new theme Thursday right here on Ball Don't Lie. And every Thursday, my man Patrick plays some jams. Got a new theme in mind. We're supposed to be able to guess what the new theme is based on the songs that are played. I believe my man Harge he's got a guess.
I got a guess.
All right.
Go ahead,
all right.
throw it out there.
Because of the fact that we were at the Moody last night,
All right.
I believe that these are people, bands, and artists that will be playing at the Mood.
That is not true.
Oh,
No,
that's a
because
good
it's a
guess.
good guess, but I do not believe Sly and the Family Stone will be playing anywhere
Dude.
ever again.
That's a
was a-
great point.
That's
But
a
when I saw
great guess,
Indus
though.
Atlantis,
This is Alanis Morissette.
yeah,
That's a great guess, though.
It was a good guess.
so I'm
was
well
really good.
off.
No,
Dang
was,
it.
I thought it was damn good. Way off, but I'm still.
I like it. I like the idea.
I do.
but
I love the
that's not
idea.
it.
He's not gonna steal that for another day. It's gonna be a theme coming up in the future. You just gave him
So I'm
another
gonna say it
theme.
every week.
One day I'll get it back.
I thought it was a good idea. I like that idea. I also like the idea of going over to Flex. Go to flxatx.com. I guess we'll put back up the specs text line. They'll probably have better guesses than we do.
Let's see what
All
happens.
right, you can always go to flxatx.com, the website, or go to flxatx on all your social media platforms. And let me remind the folks out there that coming up, February, November 28th, we're going to release our all flex top 3 of every position, essentially our all flex team. Really excited about that. The flex crew has been working really, really hard. So shout out to my man Snoop, JJ Dunn, and Zach Lucero, all those guys, Nolan, the Seed, my man Derek Cohen putting in the work too. Those guys have been working really hard. But November 28th, that's when we'll give you the update on our page, flxatx.com, of our all flex team. We're also, they're gonna have an all flex team for volleyball as well.
Yep.
That'll be coming up. We're trying to, at one point, I think the goal, the vision, is to get to all sports. They have an all flex team for all sports, but of course, we're starting with 2 of the more popular sports, and that is the football team and I think the volleyball team also coming up later. But November 28th, look out for that. That's when we'll have our all flex unveiling, if you will, of the all flex team.
Yep.
So go to flxatx.com, flxatx on all of your social media platforms. Are you going to the Lake Travis
Yes,
thing?
I will be at the Lake
going?
Travis
Okay.
Cipolo Steel game on
All right.
tomorrow night. I will definitely be
Okay.
in the house.
All right, yeah. So how's Lake
Where are
Travis?
you gonna where are you gonna be this weekend?
I'm not sure actually. I haven't made any plans yet. I mean, there are a lot. And matter of fact, that's also something you can go do. Please go check out the schedule there.
Yeah.
They got the complete schedule for all the area teams in round 2 of the playoffs, so you can go check that out as well.
Yeah, Flatonia plays tonight at Marion's Veteran Stadium against Three Rivers. Bishops plays Geronimo Navarro in Jordanton, and Thorndale is playing at Bastrop Memorial Stadium against Ganado. So there's games that will be happening tonight in the flex area.
All throughout the weekend,
Yep.
You'll be having games, and they got obviously the entire schedules up there for you, and got the locations, got the times, everything. Go to flxatx.com. And man, in round right, that Vandergrift Judson game.
That's going to be a real good game too.
That is a good game.
Yeah.
That might be one I need to consider.
Yeah.
The Vandergrift Judson matchup.
Come up that way, man. Come up that way.
To that north side.
Yeah, come up to the north
Come to
side.
the
You used to live up in the north
I used
side.
to live
That's
up in the
right.
north side,
That's
but
right.
man, hadn't been to the north side and hung out in a while.
Yeah.
But that'd be a good game to go to. But go check it out for yourself. flxatx.com, flxatx on all your social media platforms. We'll come back. We got Texas, Kansas to discuss. We'll break it down. Hopefully, the Longhorns can make quick work of the Yardbirds up there in Lawrence. We'll
I
discuss
like that, the Yardbirds.
Hopefully they can turn them into some Yardbirds. Otherwise, we don't want to see the Kansas Jayhawks we saw last year. We don't want to see them things. We want Yardbird. All right, we'll come right back. This is Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here for Allstat Beer. You know that they got that beautiful brewery right in Fredericksburg, Texas. You need to make sure you make a trip out there and get that opportunity to enjoy some Allstat beer. Last night at the Mood, I had an Allstat Kolsch, and it was delicious. You know why? Because the brewery prides itself on its award-winning German-style beers. The Great American Beer Festival just awarded the Allstat Lager for a gold medal for the second time. They've also introduced you to so many different flavors. You need to go out to the brewery and enjoy that tap room. They got an amazing fine dining restaurant. You can plan a tour today and see it for yourself. What better way to spend your weekend than enjoying some great beer with some great food with some great friends? This weekend, they also have live music, so plan your trip today. You can also go to allstatbeer.com to find the local watering hole where you can enjoy some or where you can pick some up on your way home. Make Allstat your beer of choice. All the beers that Allstat make has 100% German ingredients. That means hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, they have that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. My man Patrick plays jams, and based on those songs and selections, we're supposed to be able to guess what the new theme of the day is. I believe our texters guessed it. Did they guess it correctly, Harch?
They did. Basically, the theme is a thankful theme.
Yes, these are all songs basically titled "Thank You," because we're a week away
From Thanksgiving.
No, I
So we
like
want to
that.
give a little
I like
thanks out
that.
to everybody. Show our thanks.
It's so obvious when it actually is
When
revealed.
they say it?
When it's revealed, it's like, why didn't I think about that? That is obviously the biggest holiday on the occasion.
I'll tell you why. It's because none of us think Thanksgiving is a week away.
Yeah.
This has been a pretty hectic period of time, so I think we're all a little busy. We're like, oh man,
Very
that is
true.
a week away now.
No, the holiday season is upon us. I got neighbors that are already putting up Christmas decorations. No, I'm serious.
I got some friends that
I already
posted a picture, said, "Yeah, I already got my lights up." I'm like, "What are
I've
you
seen
doing,
some,
bro?"
Yeah, I've seen some people doing it. Some people are already listening to Christmas music.
Yeah,
Man.
we're not doing that theme. Don't worry, that's
No,
not
just
happening.
Some people are already doing. Just say some people like to get in that mood early. They like the Christmas mood should last. 6 weeks or something like that.
Doesn't if you did that, wouldn't you be completely over it by the time it got to Christmas?
I would think so.
Like
Yeah.
I
I would
if
think
I
so.
did 3 weeks ahead, I'd be like, by the time I get there, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I've listened to all the songs. We're good.
Yeah.
Did it.
Yeah, when do you start listening to Christmas music? For me, it's probably maybe 2 weeks before Christmas. Somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
I mean,
2 weekish.
just accidentally being at stores already for a month. But
Oh well, yeah, that's gonna happen. We're talking about on your own.
on my own, probably really week of.
Yeah,
Like maybe I'll like pull some out that I like a week or two before, but normally about a week of.
yeah. Week of, I'm watching Christmas movies. 2 weeks out, I probably start the music, and the decorations go up December, the month of.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
that's
you gotta
kind of
get
the
through
house rules.
Thanksgiving first.
Yeah, you got to get through the other holiday. You can't just
Look,
disregard
Yeah, you
Thanksgiving.
can't be
Thanksgiving,
disrespecting.
As an adult, it's one of my favorite holidays. You got football, you got food. We just sit around and just gluttons, all right, for football, food, and family.
There it is.
We hang around family. We eat a lot of food, and we just watch football.
All 3 F's up in there, dog.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. As an adult, it's basically the adult version of Halloween. Like when you're Halloween's a
Yeah.
kid, you love it because the
well,
candy.
it's true
and
because
all
you
that.
go to different houses. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's he's doing a thing on Friday.
Yeah.
This guy's doing Wednesday.
You break all the rules of food eating. You know what I mean? You
And
say,
then-
you can only eat so many meals. Like, no, you get to eat as many meals as you want all day long, snacking.
Nobody
going back.
judges.
Nobody judges.
and then you
Yeah.
come home with a plastic container full of food.
Exactly.
Yes.
And people force their food on you. Take this food.
Take this.
Take a turkey leg.
I hope you
please.
get all this with you.
Exactly.
Bring your own Tupperware.
Oh, man.
That's what I do. I bring my own Tupperware.
Oh, yeah. Then you get the desserts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Desserts.
Desserts for Thanksgiving are also
Yes.
fantastic. Oh, man. I
Yeah, I
cannot
can't.
wait. All right.
I don't do pie, so I don't.
I'm not a pie guy either. No
can't.
pie, no cobbler for me.
Yeah.
No.
What?
No, I'm not anti-pie cobbler, but it's not my thing. No pie cobbler. I'm a cake guy. Cupcakes.
Oh, you're a cake guy?
Cupcakes and actual cakes.
No white condiments and no pies or cobblers.
No, and my man Patrick feels me on the pie.
How about
with you.
banana
That's-
pudding? Do y'all eat banana?
No, that's considered. That's too much like a cobbler or a
Yeah.
pie.
And they put some Cool Whip on top, so it might throw you
Oh
off.
yeah, that's too
Yeah.
much.
And if
Yeah,
I
can't
want
do
banana,
that.
I'm gonna eat a banana.
I want banana pudding.
I don't need the flavor on anything other than banana.
I love banana pudding.
My brother does too. My brother loves banana pudding.
I am your brother.
Yeah.
That's why we. I am
that
your
was
brother.
good. That's a great way to end the conversation right there. Like George Costanza. We got
That's
to end on
right.
a high note there. All right, let's get to some Texas-Kansas conversation here, gentlemen, because we heard from you were in attendance.
I was in
at the
attendance
meeting,
to the
and
presser
you asked
today.
a question.
I did. I
What
did.
question did you ask?
I asked the question about this 3-3-5 defense that seems to give everyone, not just Texas,
Yeah, it's
not
not
just
Texas.
Sark.
It's not just Sark.
I'm talking about everyone around the Big 12 and around the country. This defense that gives everyone this trouble is this 3-3-5 defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to ask Sark, like, why is that? What is the concept?
What's up with it?
How do we defeat this defense?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what Sark had to say about the 3-3-5 defense.
You know, I would like to say it's unique, but I don't know if it's unique anymore. I mean, a lot of people do it. We've seen it multiple times this season. Off the top of my head, Iowa State, Kansas State, and obviously last week with TCU. I think one of the challenges is that the way they deploy the three safeties, it can be discouraging in the pass game. They're dropping 8 people in coverage a fair amount of time. It's hard to find throwing lanes and get on top. So you have to try to run them out of it in essence. But then they have multiple hats coming at you from different angles to, you can get yards, but it's hard to get those explosive runs. But I think you have to have a commitment to running the football, and you have to have real designed runs to attack it, to hopefully get them out of that 3 safety shell and force them into playing some other coverages that maybe they're not as comfortable playing. I think the other thing that is unique about it is that because of the structure with the 3 down linemen, kind of the 3 backers, and then the 3 safeties, there's a multitude of pressures that they can bring out of it. So when you're committed to those pressures, you got to make sure that you're sound protection wise and that you're sound in the run game to pick all the different hats up and the different looks they can present.
Yeah, I mean, it's just distortion, basically. They distort any look that you may have and distort the pre-snap read of the quarterback in a lot of different ways. And I think in the future, teams will have more of they'll have a more of a sense of how the 3 high, 3 down works and all the loopholes and the different ways to beat it. Right now, it's a relatively new idea and scheme and philosophy. I mean, you're talking about this thing being less than 10 years old in terms of it being popularized among teams. So, since they're a natural baked in, there are cover 1 beaters and cover 2 beaters and cover 3 beaters and cover 4 beaters, and cover 6 beaters that teams have been using for decades now, and they're so ingrained in everybody's football psyche that everybody knows what they are. I can go through them here and bore you half to death, but you can just go Google them. They're out there. I know, and all of those are from either a 2 high look, 2 deep safeties, or a single high look. And now teams are doing it with 3 high looks. They're still the same coverages.
Right.
They're just doing it with a different look, and it's a different presentation. And there are not natural offensive beaters and loopholes based on that 3 high safety formation yet. Now we know there are things that have higher rates of success versus the 3 high.
Right.
Now we know 3x1 sets do, trips 3x1 sets, or even 3x2 sets out of empty. These are things that Sark had success with versus TCU last week, right?
Yep.
Late in the second half, empty formation. Late in the second half, a lot more 3x1 sets to try to stress that 3 high look, and that way, if they're stressed formationally, they have to start revealing their coverage responsibilities.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, and that's why when Sark was trying to go with condensed sets, they loved it. You're like, condensed sets, this is great. And now we can manipulate pre-snaps what you want, because we're not far from our coverage responsibility, and I can get to the far side of formation and then back to the other hash really quickly, because you got me covering or basically covering condensed sets and receivers in condensed sets.
Yeah.
But when he spread them out and went 3x1 to 3x2. Hey, you got to get to your work.
You got to get to your
wherever
work.
your
That's right.
landmark is, or wherever your man, you better get there. All right, and you got to start revealing. And they're like, it looks like this actually looks like a two high look.
Yep.
Oh, it looks like they actually may be in a cover 4 here. And the more you stress it, right? The more you stress it, it starts to look more and more like an old school defense, because they have to get to their coverage landmarks and responsibilities.
Right.
And that's why Sark had success then. And then you can start, like you said, then you can displace, all right, the running game essentially, which is what he did with the wide receiver screen game, because they're so stressed out. They can't stack the box, or they can't, decide to allocate resources to the pass game one way or the other. They got to pick their poison. So they're going to stack the box, and you stressing them out? Okay, what you going to throw it outside to Jay Witt? We got the numbers out there. Oh, you want to allocate resources to stop the passing game? Well, we're just going to hand it off to Bijan, because we got the numbers in there.
We're going to flip the script.
It's just a numbers game, essentially. Yeah. You can't let it get more complicated than that. When you do, I think that's when, football is a simple game complicated by simple men.
And that's where the reason why I was asking that question, obviously because of all the great answers you just gave, but it's also, how do you convince Quinn's eyes to be able to see that, Hudson's eyes, whoever the quarterback is?
That's different.
You know what I'm saying? How do you help him? Because that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to confuse him to be able to say, all right, yeah, you think you have that opening. You think you could get that ball into that space.
But you don't.
But you don't, because what I'm going to make you do is take that threat, that opportunity. You're going to say, I'm going to get frustrated. I don't want to run the ball that much. I don't want to run those short crossing routes. I want to take that home run shot because you think you can get it there.
That's why I said Sark. I don't know if Sark's scheme, and I said this on Longhorn Blitz. I said it. I think I said it earlier this week on this show. I don't think Sark's scheme necessarily is a bad matchup for the 3 high, 3 down. I think it's Sark's mentality, and I think it's Sark's philosophy.
Yeah.
You can say greed too if you want to throw in that too. He's impatient.
Yep.
But I think it's his philosophy. He's a big game hunter. Naturally, the 3 high, 3 down is taking away your big plays.
Yep.
They're going to take that away. They're going to give you small game. They don't give you the big game. They take that away. And that's really frustrating for Sark. It makes him impatient, turns him into a different play caller. So I think naturally it's a bad fit for him. If he would be more patient and be willing to take what the defense is giving him and not try to force the issue with that deep ball to validate his play calling prowess or the game plan, whatever it may be, I think he'd be better off. And I think his quarterback would be better off.
I think so, Tim.
CJ Vogel does a really good job. We're big fans of CJ Vogel.
Big time.
He's at CJ Vogel _ TFB for the Football Brainiacs. They do a good job too. They got so many great entities covering Texas football. We're all really lucky. Makes our job pretty simple.
Pretty mixed
You got to follow the right guys.
Yeah, you got to make sure.
And CJ Vogel is one of those guys you should follow.
Yep.
He went and did a little mini deep dive. He said he looked back the last 4 years of Steve Sarkisian's offense and wanted to kind of look at the deep ball and the frequency of the deep ball, the tendencies, that kind of thing. He looked at percentage of passes attempted over 20 yards in Sark's offense over the last 4 years. 2019 and 2020 when he's at Alabama, right? The OC there and the play caller. 15% in 2019, 13.2% in 2020. But when he goes to Texas in 2021, his deep ball percentage jumps to 16% and then to 20% this year. So 20% of Texas passes have been deep balls 20 yards or more down the field. And as we know, they haven't been very successful or effective.
Right.
But as Sark told us, he's going to keep throwing these deep balls because, as Robbie Blackman Freud told you like a year ago, he's a big game hunter. And he's not going to settle for the quail and the pheasant and the small game. He wants big game. He's going to keep chasing it. And at times that makes him I think it makes him an insecure play caller, and he keeps chasing that big play.
Right.
And that puts him behind the chains. And also it makes his young quarterback very, very inconsistent, erratic, and he doesn't get in the rhythm. So you know what I think, though, Hart, just looking at those numbers, I think that Nick Saban was telling him, hey, Sark, hey, calm it down, Coach Steven. All right? Coach Steven, calm it down. All right, the deep balls, rein it back in. I need you to have more high percentage passes in this offense, more RPOs. And now that Sark's running his own show, last 2 years, and now that he's got the arm, too, right? He's got the golden arm that can make all the throws. There is nothing that is really checking. There's no checks and balances to keep him from going, hey, man, we're going to throw it. We're going to throw it deep. We're going to throw them bombs, and we don't give a damn at what cost.
And that is the question right there, right? That's where we start thinking, no! Pace yourself.
Right? I mean, that's a huge jump.
It is.
And you can tell at Bama it looked moderate. It looked a little bit more moderate, but now you went from 16%. And that's when Casey Thompson and Hudson Card weren't really they weren't real protected in the pocket, but they definitely weren't great deep ball throwers yet last year. And you got the arm this year with my man Quinn Ewers, but he's been inconsistent, and yet Sark still has a really high frequency of throwing those deep balls. Man. And he even looked at average distance of throw. Average distance of throw for Tua in 2019, 8.7. For Mac Jones, 8.8 in 2020. For Casey Thompson, 9.8. And for Quinn Ewers, 11.5. I'm telling you, when Nick Saban went there to go, Coach Steven,
slow that down.
Slow it down.
Slow that down.
I want to see Sark now.
Yeah.
Get Coach Steven out of here. I need to see Sark. All right. Boom. All right. And you go. I don't know why you're getting I know why you're getting a higher clip, because there's no checks and balances, and I think Nick Saban was there to check him a little bit. And you start looking at it, and yes, your eyes, your eye test kind of tells you this too, but it's good to have the numbers. You could look at, and this is kind of the final indictment of what Sark is doing, the insanity, right? The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
His part of his thread, he says, however, the Ewers has some interest, ranks among conference quarterbacks on yards per attempt in certain regions. So he looked at 20-plus yard passes, and Quinn Ewers is averaging 7.1 yards per attempt on 20-plus yard passes. That ranks 12th in the Big 12. And 30% completion percentage ranks 10th in the Big 12. But passes at the line of scrimmage, 9.3 yards per attempt, ranks first in the Big 12.
That's a good number.
And what I say? Quick game.
We've been talking about it for a long time.
I literally made a lyric up about it in the during the offseason because I wanted it to become a thing. Get the ball out of the young man's hands quickly, get him in a groove, take the burden off of a young offensive line, and let your playmakers on the outside do all the work with yak yards.
Yeah.
And we have gone backwards for some reason.
We seem to pump the brakes a little bit, right?
I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm glad CJ Vogel did the breakdown there because that's something we've all been able to recognize with our eyes. It's telling us that. And I've been kind of telling you that just from my film study, but now the numbers tell you, he at Alabama, he had a lot more regulation. All right, his deep ball madness was regulated. Here, it has not been. And at Bama, he had better players, and I'm sure higher rates of success when throwing those deep balls. You're throwing 2 first-round picks at wide receiver from a first-round pick at quarterback with a first, like first-round picks on the O-line. And now that's not the case. Well, not right now.
Not
hopefully,
right now.
developmental-wise, it'll be the case. So, I don't know what if we don't see a change in the offense in this game, then versus Kansas, I think you'll give Kansas hope. You'll breathe life into that Kansas defense, which is atrocious.
Man,
it's really bad.
It is really bad, but that's why we look at this game and we're saying. I was talking to some buddies today. It was like we know what this game means, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is a huge game for the program, because this will be back-to-back years that you go and play against a Kansas team that you need a win to separate yourself. This game means so much more than just going and playing the game and winning the game. You got to set a precedent right now, especially after last week's performance on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, let's be honest about this Kansas defense. They are just not a really good defense. Right. Not an impressive defense at all.
Right, you said it yesterday.
I'll go through the stats with the total defense, 117th, yards per play, 104th, rush defense, 93rd, pass defense, 118, third down defense, 122nd, scoring defense, 103rd. Even the deep dive analytics there, 112th in pass play success rate, stuff rate, 99th, front 7 havoc rate, 126th. 123rd pass down success rate, rush play success rate 120th, rush play explosiveness 75th, 125th, and pass play explosiveness. You get the point. They are not a really good defense, but they are an elite offense. Actually, it starts with their quarterback position. Jalen Daniels, when he was healthy, and Harge and I were talking about him a ton when he was, and led them to an undefeated record, and was a Heisman sleeper that came out of nowhere. He may end up starting this game for Kansas. We don't know that for sure. That it's not been announced, but he is available, and he is practicing. And he, for the first time since getting injured, and my man Harsh basically predicted it, they could have Jalen Daniels available, and he's the guy that beat Texas last season.
Right.
Sark was asked about Jalen Daniels and how impactful, or at least really not just down the Kansas quarterbacks, really, because Bean has also done a really good job for them. And you're going to see both of them. Yeah, they literally have a 2-quarterback package,
right,
where they play both quarterbacks at the same time. And they run different plays off of it. It is freaky and fascinating. But here is Sark at his media availability today, the Zoom call, talking about the Kansas quarterbacks that they have to prepare for.
Yeah, First of all, we've, I think on both sides have been involved in the quarterback situations on our end and opponents. So I guess we're getting used to it. The system isn't going to change, and they've got a very good system offensively. They utilize the option game and they tax you that way in the run game to where you have to be very disciplined in defending, all 3 phases of the option game, the give, the quarterback, and the pitch. And then they do a nice job with their play action game off of that. If you're not disciplined there's kind of that fourth layer to it, which is the play action pass game where they get their chunk plays in the passing game down the field. I think both quarterbacks are very equipped at running it. I would probably say Bean may be faster than Daniels. When he gets in the open field, he's got really, straight line speed. I think one thing Daniels has, he's got a really good feel for the game of football. We felt that last year in our game when they kind of started him and we didn't know it. And, he's got a really knack for, layering throws down the field. He's very elusive and can, slip out of tackles to extend plays with his legs or his arm. So you have to prepare for the system. But I do think it is important to know in game which quarterback is in there and then kind of how we need to defend him as the game goes on.
Yeah, and the Longhorns, once again, preparing for 2 quarterbacks. He's right. Jason Bean, I believe, had been clocked at a 10-4, 100 meters. Oh, no, he can run.
You better be ready.
Yeah, he can run. Jalen Daniels
you don't want to see that again where they take off and we're not closing on that speed.
Yeah, he's a long strider a little bit. But and Jalen Daniels, he's more dangerous because he's just as fast as he is quick, and he's quick in tight spaces. He's elusive. Is probably the best way to describe them. So they're both dangerous, though. In that offense, they're both dangerous.
Here we go.
All right, Hard Knock Life, what you got coming up for the people?
We got our man John Price going to make you some money.
Straight cash, homie.
He's coming to give you some straight cash, homie. John Price coming up next.
All right, well, getting to Hard Knock Life, John Price coming up to give you a little advice on how you can make your pockets a little bit fatter. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Now, we know Austin is one of the most competitive housing markets in the country, and now you can take advantage of this really competitive housing market. The average home in Austin sells for over the asking price, and my friends at Orchard, they're going to give you the opportunity to win twice, a win-win program that can take advantage of this great opportunity. So here's the first win for you. Orchard can make you a solid guaranteed cash offer on your home. We're talking about a real cash offer on your home, one that reflects the market value of your home in one of the most competitive housing markets in the country. They're not trying to lowball you. They're not trying to get over on you. We're talking about a real straight cash offer. And here's the other thing. They're also going to handle the upgrade for you, the listing and the showing. They're going to take all the headaches, all the hassles out of the home buying process for you, or the home selling process for you. And how about this? Win number 2, when Orchard sells your home for more than your cash offer, you're going to keep the extra. That's right. You win again. That's the win-win program. Orchard not only guarantees the sale of your home, but when it sells for more than they offered you, you keep the upside. That's what they call their win-win program, and you got to take advantage of this right now. You can receive maximum value for your old home without all the hassles of selling it yourself. All you got to do is reach out to Orchard. It's orchard.com. That's orchard.com, ORCHARD.com.
Welcome back to a new music-themed Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. And the theme is to be thankful. We'll get into that in just a minute. You can follow me on Twitter at HardballHard. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We love it when you're part of the show, so you can hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline is a man that we all need to be thankful for because he is giving out winner after winner after winner. He is my man John Price of Sports Information Traders. Go to sportsinformationtraders.com, or you can give him a call at 866-441-2711. And John, that's all you do is thank the people, and the people are thanking you for making them a winner. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm thankful in general every day of life. I'm thankful and grateful and excited, and it doesn't matter win lose. Every day is a great day, and when you win, it makes it that much better. And you're right. We're on to something. We really are. I mean, in years past, we've taken opportunities to take advantage of underdogs and made it work. And this year, we're doing an exceptional job of isolating the game to pound, as they say in the wagering world, and it is working out incredibly well. I have my analysts and executives reaching out to all clients and former clients and inactive clients and everything, and it's just been a great day. I had a chance this morning, and I'm going to get to the promotion here in a minute, but I had a chance this morning to actually see how many 512 people signed up for our service this year, and I cannot tell you how overjoyed I am. The people of Austin truly know their sports, and they truly know their opportunities. And plenty of you have taken advantage of these plays, and many of you are still with us. So for that, I really appreciate that, and I'm glad you're going to be along for the ride. This week, we do have another underdog play that I'm looking at right now. It's on my desk in front of me. It is a play that we are going to push hard, both on the money line and with the points. When I play an underdog like that, I call it a Vegas mistake for a reason, and that Vegas mistake is available at our website, sportsinformationtraders.com. If you go there right now, you'll see Vegas mistake. You can purchase it right there. This play is for only brand new clients. So a lot of our existing clients will be on the play, but this play is for people who are active with us and on board, or people who are brand new and haven't joined us yet. So go to the website, sportsinformationtraders.com, purchase the Vegas mistake. One of my analysts will reach out to you, lock you in, and you are set to go for this weekend. I can't wait for it.
Hey, when he tells you that he's been working hard to find that Vegas mistake, that's exactly what he has been doing. I got an opportunity to talk to one of your analysts before and didn't really get into the conversation about it, but I know that how much work you guys put into this. Your analysts put in a lot of hard work, and you find those lines that just don't look the right way. And you once again have found another one of those, John. But I know a game that everyone around here is ready to talk about, and that's the Texas Longhorns. Last week they had a dismal performance when you look at the offensive side of the ball. The defense played unbelievable championship-type football, but the offense didn't get it going. And this week, they make that trip to Lawrence, Kansas. They're a 9-point favorite on your board. What is it about this game that you see that you might want to be able to help these fans out with?
Well, first of all, I watched a good bit of the TCU-Texas game last week, even though it was not something that factored into our private plays, and it was really tough. Bijan had a tough day on the ground. I think he only had like 28, 29 yards, and he really sets the tone. He's been the tone setter for this team. I mean, there was a time period where your starting quarterback went down early in the Alabama game, and you had to pick up the pieces there. But the common thing in that offense is Bijan Robinson in that offensive line. And last week, it was a situation where it just wasn't working out, and it was a low-scoring game, which I never would have projected. Looking at those two teams, I thought they might score 100 together. But if you look at this particular game, the line opened at Texas -9, and that's where it is right now. So When you're 4 or 5 days later from a line opening and it's holding steady to where it opened, it means equal public money was on both sides of the play. And we know about Texas losing last week. They're still 6-4 against the spread this year. So if you're somebody who's just been betting on Texas with or without the points, you're actually +2. Kansas, they're coming off a loss to Texas Tech. They enter the game with the third best against the spread record in the country at 7-2-1. Let me say that again. Kansas is 7-2-1 against the spread this year. So if you bet on the Jayhawks in their games, you're +5 right now, and I expect them to try to run the ball. Devin Neal, their running back, has had a really good couple of weeks, over 400 yards on the ground. This should be a really exciting game. I think 9 points is too much to give either one of these teams. I know that Kansas is a better team with Daniels in there, but they still find a way to stay in games, especially at home. So a play to watch here. I'm going to take Kansas +9 over Texas. I think Texas has a great shot to win this game, but 9 points is way, way too much. So take Kansas +9 over Texas. And more importantly, go get on the Vegas mistake. I mean, how many times do we have to win these games, and so many of you are missing them? Many of you are on them, but many of you are missing them. I also see how many people write in and call in and inquire, but don't come on board, which is, we appreciate you too. Even if you're listening right now and you don't call, we appreciate you. The point is that we have an opportunity. We're heading into Thanksgiving week. We won't be on next week. So this is your chance to hop on this game. Go to our website, sportsinformationtraders.com. Look for the words Vegas mistake. Hit the buy button. Let's go. One of my analysts will reach out to you, get you on the play, both on the money line and with the points. And you're locked in for this weekend. You can set yourself up and have a great weekend, roll into Thanksgiving, and it's going to be a tone setter for you. Win a big one this weekend with us, and then have a great Thanksgiving week.
I love it. I love it, and I know the listeners love it as well. As he said before, you don't want to miss out on the Vegas mistake, but he also just gave you a nugget that Kansas is against the spread is 7-2-1. That is a big number. And when I saw that number come out, I thought the same thing. I was like, woo, that's a big number for a team that couldn't move the ball last weekend. So I appreciate you. As always, make sure you get over to sportsinformationtraders.com, or you can give them a call, 866-441-2711, and jump on that Vegas mistake and become a customer over there with Sports Information Traders. John, as always, my friend, thank you for jumping on with us.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to you, your whole team at the station, and to everybody in Austin. Have a good, safe holiday. Punch it with this Vegas mistake, and then have a nice week of food and family like we all deserve.
That's right. That way you can get some extra turkey if you want to. Get some of them sides that you might be missing out. That's right. Go cash that check. I appreciate you, John.
All right. Take care.
There he is, John Price, sportsinformationtraders.com. He has been on fire, and that Vegas mistake is something that you might want to look into if you're into that type of wagering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good information about that 7-2-1 against the spread.
Yeah, they were undefeated with Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
They were like undefeated against the spread with Jalen Daniels. Because, I mean, it was Kansas early in the year.
Yeah, nobody
Vegas
knew.
thought they would win 2 games. I mean, they're already a bowl team. Yeah,
Right.
They got do they have the same record as Texas?
Oh, man,
Yeah, I
why you
think
got to
so.
bring up old stuff?
I believe it's so, right?
But you right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I believe they have the same record as Texas. Yeah, so they were doing really good. Then Bean came in. Bean's been okay, but I believe at the time that Jalen Daniels was down, they were 5-0.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels
And then I
was
believe
a difference maker.
And I
man.
believe going back to last year, they were like 9-0 or something like that. Prior to that, whatever the last 3 games he started of the year or whatever, I believe they were undefeated against the spread, even going back to then too. So if you go Jalen Daniels, I believe Jalen Daniels actually, as a starter since that Texas game, has been undefeated against the spread.
Yeah, they're both 6-4. Texas is 6-4 overall, and Kansas is 6-4. Texas is 4-3 in conference, and Kansas is 3-4. Yeah, you got any more of them spreads?
Yeah. All right. We'll get into some more Texas, Kansas discussion coming up at the top of the 6 o'clock. We got off the record on the other side. Got a lot of different things I want to throw in off the record, including Matthew McConaughey's. What was this? A song? As a rap? What was it?
Your guess is as good as
I don't know
mine.
what it was.
Yours is as good as
I mean,
mine.
I'm not opposed to it, but we got to figure out exactly what it was. All right, maybe Harge is opposed to it. We'll talk about what the Minister of Culture had to say about the mood, and also get into some other news, notes, and nuggets. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers here. You need to get out to Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods, right? Because they got everything that you need there. You got to get the weekend started the right way. You got football tailgates, football watch parties. Hey, you got the holiday season coming up. We're celebrating Thanksgiving, being in the thankful mood today because of our new theme Thursday. And thinking about Thanksgiving, you got the holidays, you got family coming in town. We know what the holidays are all about. It's all about family, food, football, but also making sure that everybody's in a really good mood. And the stuff that you need to get everybody in a good mood is right there at Specs, folks. And they got a great selection. We're talking about a warehouse style selection there at Specs, but they also have the lowest prices, and that's why I love Specs. It's why they've been a industry leader here in Texas since 1962, a Texas family-owned destination for all of your selection of beer, wine, spirits, and even your appetizers and hors d'oeuvres that you need for all of your watch parties and your football tailgates. But also, don't forget about the holiday season coming up. You need to start stockpiling for Thanksgiving. You got Christmas. You got New Year's after that. They call it the holiday season for a reason. And my friends at Specs, they have your back. As a matter of fact, they make it easy for you. Go to specsonline.com, and you can not only get seasonal recipes and cocktail recipes there, but also you can get same-day delivery. That's right. Go to specsonline.com. You can order online, make everything easy, but also get same-day delivery. So if you have some, just some issues with making sure you're planning out your holiday festivities the right way, and maybe you forgot something, well, don't worry about that because Specs has your back. And like I said, for the holiday season, one-stop shop for all of your holiday shopping right there at Specs. So go check it out for yourself. 4-time National Retailer of the Year for a reason, because the fun starts right there at Specs. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. And time for another edition of Off the Record. All of us were in attendance at The Mood last night when the Longhorns put a whipping on the Zags. The Minister of Culture, I guess, either wrote a song or wrote a poem. Could it be considered like a poem too, rather than a song? Is it a song?
I mean, I think it's a song. I think he's just kind of preaching over the top of it.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying, like, I don't even know if you consider it a song. But it's music in the background. But they played this in Moody, right? Correct?
They played it twice.
Okay.
They played it as the opening before the game started.
started.
And then
Yeah.
when the game was over and they won, they played it again.
Play it again. Yeah, they wanted you to. Yeah, so basically, this is the Minister of Culture, and he is supposed to be literally a minister, I believe, in this video, like in a church, and he's talking about blessing the mood. Here's a little sample of the Minister of Culture.
What?
All right, I think we got enough of it. All right, so taste,
We
taste
had
for you.
enough when I
Okay,
saw
so
it last
You
night.
see where I got a little mixed up, whether it's a rap or a song or a sermon or a poem. Like, it almost transitions from being either one of those things at any point during the presentation, right? Kind of starts off as a sermon, then kind of transitions to a
Yeah,
poem.
he tries to be
It's
a little
rap by
melodic
the
at
end.
points. Yeah.
He's like
He
rapping
was
by the
not.
end.
He was not trying to be Kirk Franklin. He was because Kirk would have been. You better watch it. You better watch
I
it.
mean, I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You didn't like it?
Rod, you told me you're a lyric guy, right?
I'm a lyric guy.
That was not the lyrics you was
No,
looking
but
for, man.
listen, I also understand that that's not what Matthew does. So I'm considering that, he's an
Then
amateur
don't
when it
do
comes to
what you do. I'd much rather have Bum B on the
Let somebody
on
else do
game
it?
day.
Okay.
I'd say there's some really good musicians in this. Like, the guy who apparently put this together is Charlie Sexton, who is Charlie Sexton's one of the best guitar
Yeah.
players from town from a long time ago. He's been around forever. He plays in the Archangels. He was Bob Dylan's band leader for a long time. Like, Charlie Sexton
Whoa.
is an
AG.
awesome player.
He's a
yeah,
G.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
So you see him, and I see him in the video, and you're like, oh, okay, so Charlie's doing it. It's all done at Arlen Studios because you can see the logo. So it's Arlen Studios here in town.
Yeah.
My lot's in it. A lot of Austin musicians are in it.
So you got to be in the music business, kind of know that there was.
Then you see it and you're like, all right, so he's just hooking up. We're getting some Austin people in it, doing an Austin thing.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not great, but it's weird. If you want to keep Austin weird, that's weird.
yeah, exactly. And it kind of feels like Matthew McConaughey. Feels
Yeah.
like the Minister of Culture to me. It feels original and authentic to him.
Did
I
you get a
haven't
chance to see the video? Like, did you watch the video?
I didn't watch it live there. I watched
okay.
it on his
Like-
Twitter account.
Like,
I watched
what
it.
is really happening? Like, I mean, what,
Did people get hyped for it that time? 'Cause I didn't see it when I was there. I got there a
I
little
think
later.
they got really hyped when they saw Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
And that was
that was the
around
excitement.
level. And look, I'm not one talking about because like my buddies, the Grooveline Horns are in the video. So I
Oh, so
love that.
you knew some guys in the video.
So Grooveline Horns, they play every Tuesday at C-Boys now.
Wow.
But they've been on SNL. They've been on live. They've been on a lot of stuff. So those guys have been around, but they do a show every Tuesday. If you ever want to go see them play,
Shout out.
They have a good show. But yeah, like Malat's in that too. She's really good. And so it's like you're like, oh man, I'm happy you got these people in it, but
Because you got some real, because you got real musicians in it. Like,
Yeah.
Not just
it's one of those things that normally dies after you have the conversation at a party. You know what I mean? Like, so you have a bunch of musicians in a room like, dude, we should totally do this. And then it never goes anywhere.
Everybody realized they were too
That's
drunk
the
when they had the
reason it
conversation.
doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's normally what that is that is a conversation. And then you start writing the lyrics and you're like, oh, you wake up and you see what you wrote down. And you're like, but it's not a church, right? It's a basketball game.
Yeah,
Right.
no, he wants it. He wants to bless the mood. So I think that kind of the theme, if you will,
So
is
when
that
you
he's
go-
a minister and he's blessing the mood.
Yeah.
So what you just said about this is good at the party, and then all of a sudden it dies down. This was the part of the party where they say, "No, we actually have a studio in here right now. Let's go do it."
Yeah, they did it.
They
You're right.
did it right then.
You're
They
right.
didn't talk about it.
'Cause
They
it's
went
Austin.
in. Yeah, they just like, let's go do it right
It's
now.
Austin.
Come on,
No,
we're
a lot
going
of guys-
right now.
That was like a 6-camera shoot, dude. That was not we're going to do this right now. That was a lot of cameras in there. They probably did that thing like 15, 20 times in a row
Yeah.
to get all the shots.
So do we think? Because okay, so you've been to the mood to watch basketball. They didn't play this.
No,
at
this
the
was
last-
for this game.
This
for
was the
game.
premiere.
This came out at this
is
game.
Is it going to be something they play for future games, or only for big games, or only for the Zags game?
I would assume they're going to play it at some point during every
like-
game now.
Okay, at one point.
But
yeah.
like it'll probably be in the pregame.
Yeah.
Like when it's just nothing's happening. So they'll play it at that point. They did not play it during the game.
Well, you got to play it when Matthews there.
Yeah.
Was he there? last night?
Oh, then
Was
was
he
gonna
there?
be looking at him. He might
they
have been. He
show
wasn't.
him?
He wasn't on the. He used to always be on like the side of the
Yeah,
bench.
exactly. Right. You
Over there.
I didn't see.
But you
probably
can't.
was
You
box
can't
somewhere.
have that playing. That's a weird thing to have that song playing, and then everyone's just looking at you like,
What are you gonna do?
"Are you smiling during this?" Or you also know what it is. All right, so you know what it is. Like it's not terrible. It's just
Hey,
it is what it is.
Like you said, it's weird, and I think Matthew would like it though. Actually, they played it. I think he'd get into it. He'd get into the character and everything.
Come on, man.
Hey, what do you mean? You know, so you are anti this whole thing.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. I'm not sitting there. This is not a lip sync
It's
controversy.
happening.
This should have been the Masked Singer, because then it would have been better
You
for
said
us.
somebody should have stopped this.
Somebody should have stopped that.
and nobody
immediately.
stopped this. CDC.
No.
Somebody should have put the kibosh on it.
Nah, man.
And nobody did.
Because that's his arena.
He's a
so
big-
they're
he's a
letting
big
him-
subculture.
He helped build that arena.
Well,
They're
he
like,
did.
go ahead,
Do you
do your
think-
thing.
did.
Do you think that was the problem? Is that like they got it for the first game, and everyone's like, "Are we playing this?" Hey man, I just need to make sure that we are playing this.
They thought it was like a skit. or
Gotta
something.
pass it through all his managers
all
and
the
agents.
true musicians in this city. And this is who we had to deliver the message for us. That is the thing that really drives me crazy. We had a lot of opportunity. True musicians
Hey, it's true. It's real. You're
that
right.
are
Oh,
that
no,
are
no,
can
that's the thing
actually
is
deliver.
he's the Jeff Saturday of this. he
jumped
jumped in
the
there,
line.
just jumped in there, and he's killing it, man. You
He's
know?
been hanging out
But
with
that's the thing,
Ursay.
Harsh, if you just remove him and you just take the talent that's in that room,
Right.
I mean, that song's great, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
you'll probably have a You probably have a real
So it's
musician
just
do it.
kind of weird. But man, I can tell you from working in studios and working around bands, man, rich people like to do some things.
Exactly.
And
Right.
let them do it.
Right.
Let them do it. Let them have
Very,
their fun.
very true. If
Yeah.
if he has that ability and the access obviously is there, say, hey man,
Oh man.
hey buddy, I'm just telling you, I laid down some tracks
See?
last night, man.
You know what? And I know Matthew is probably listening to the show too. And he's
Matthew.
gonna hear what your criticism
Hey
of him.
Matthew,
Matthew, I support
shoulda-
you, bro.
You should have let someone else do it, buddy. You
Hey,
should have.
Harge, I hate to tell you this. That song's 1-0.
Yeah, exactly.
I know we're gonna have it
Oh,
every
yeah.
week. We're gonna have to. I know we're
There
gonna
you
play
go.
it until we don't.
You're right. Now it's associated with the mojo.
Yeah, because he's blessed the mood.
Now,
Yeah.
wait, can we get a new one for Gregory Jim? We're in there in a week or two. Can we get one for Gregory Jim?
Yeah.
Did he do this for Austin FC? Did he do it? Because he's really heavily involved with Austin. He basically kind of went
He's the one
Hey.
that came up with Listos Verde.
Yeah, so he did,
Hey,
did he
wait
do
a
one of
minute.
these?
Wait a minute. Is he going to do one for the Commanders?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be
They're
awesome.
going to have a new building, too?
Yeah.
He's going to bless the new building?
Right.
This is going to be his thing.
Yeah.
Texas says hype man. Yeah.
He's going to have Jay-Z on a verse in there?
Oh, now that might be fire.
No, because you can't put, like, one neck. It doesn't work.
Yes.
You can't put one of those next to the others, doesn't it?
No.
Yes.
Because it makes it like if you have a really nice 5-course meal and then a Pop-Tart. It doesn't compare.
Did you just compare the Minnesota culture to a Pop-Tart?
Hey,
He's got
you
sprinkles.
You can either microwave it or put it in a toaster.
Well, at least get the strawberry kind with the icing on it. You know what I mean? At least he's that, for sure. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into that Texas beatdown of Gonzaga on the other side. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Logo and Rod Babers here. Let's talk about my friends right now over at Twin Peaks, because Twin Peaks is doing something fantastic. They brought back happy hour, folks. That's right. They brought it back, and it's better than ever. All right, they've really upgraded. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and extensive bourbon categories to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. They also have local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, round out an adventurous drink menu that is second to none. And don't forget about that Twin Peaks 29-degree man-sized draft. For me, it's all about the Bud Light, but for you, it can be whatever beer you choose. And if you're a real fan of Twin Peaks like I am, sign up for their e-club. You can get all types of free stuff there, but also they'll keep you updated with everything happening at your local Twin Peaks. And also, don't forget, folks, about that scratch menu. I love the scratch menu at Twin Peaks. Every delicious dish on the menu is made from scratch. So if you're thinking about a new favorite spot for lunch or for dinner or those late-night eats, don't forget about Twin Peaks. There's one near you, I guarantee you that, the Stastny location, the San Marcos location, or the Round Rock location. As a matter of fact, we're going to be at the Stastny location tomorrow. So come on out if you're in the neighborhood and start the weekend off a little bit early and do it the right way at your local Twin Peaks. Go to TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. That's Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. New theme of the day is being thankful. We got Thanksgiving on the horizon. We all can stand to be a little bit more thankful for the blessings in our lives. So I want to thank my man Patrick for enlightening us a little bit early on a new theme Thursday and all of his hard work. My man Harge is out going to see his kids actually play in sporting events. But you can cyberstalk him at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis is at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. And you can reach out to us via the Specs text line. That is the heartbeat of this thing. And you are the soul of this show. So do so on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. We'll be talking about Texas' big win over the Zags. We'll also get into Raj Round the Day next segment. Probably going to discuss some NFL trends in that segment. There is one glaring trend that continues to really be astounding right now in the NFL. We thought it would be more of an outlier. Not the case. This may be the story of 2022 in the NFL. We'll get to that coming up in Raj Rant of the Day. Verlander winning his third Cy Young. We'll get to that coming up in the 5:45 segment. And then we'll get back to Texas versus Kansas and even Steve Sarkisian's media availability via the Zoom call. We'll get to that at the top of the 6 o'clock. Then we got Packers Titans Thursday night football preview. And we'll discuss Philadelphia, once again, going all in, all caps, this time signing Ndamukong Suh. We'll get into that, too, coming up at 6:30 with some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Let's get right to it, though. Patrick, you were there to witness it. You've probably seen more of this Texas basketball team than anybody that I know. 93-74 win over the Zags. We'll get into the mood and the Moody Center and the experience overall and the environment, because that was also something that we have to discuss. But getting to the team, 93-74 win over the Zags. What was the big storyline for you coming out of that game?
I mean, because there's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and I mean, it's
in
this
a good
thing
way
that you don't expect to have so many players play one of the best games they've ever had together at the same time. Really, when you need it,
versus one of the better teams in the
versus
country.
the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to start with Tyrese Hunter, and just this was his coming out party for the Longhorns.
No question.
That we knew he was the preseason number 1 transfer in the Big 12, so we knew that he was a big name to get in the transfer portal. He's played well, but to see him come out and have that dominant performance, I mean, that just has got to give you a lot of confidence for a team that has struggled offensively. To have somebody that can make a defense not be able to play zone on you like that, to have a defense where they can't really just guard you and guard everybody with whoever.
Yep.
You make them stay. Okay, now, because Marcus Carr wasn't necessarily carrying his weight enough as the guy, but as soon as you're able to put him as second guy, now he is one of the best second guys in the country at guard. Yeah. You add into that Dylan Dessou, what he was able to do in this game is huge. I mean, just everyone in there. And then the fact that Texas got to go in and have their game plan and execute it and basically control the game with their – even though at the beginning Gonzaga's just shooting unreal from the three-point land, which is why they're basically in that game and why they're up.
They shot pretty well from the three-point land.
They were shooting unreal to start that game. So when you were playing, we're going to take everything away from Timmy. We're going to take everything away, and we're going to double onto him, and we're going to help on inbounds, on the passes, on the entry passes. They were getting threes, which you're going to give up. You just don't expect them to hit 80%. You're like, a normal team's going to shoot 40%.
Yeah.
So if you miss half of the ones you made, we're up right now.
And I think Texas knew they could not sustain. They weren't going to sustain it.
Exactly.
And they didn't. They didn't sustain it. But, I mean, you're right. There are a lot of guys who played really, really well and played at a high level against the Zags. And you're probably right. That's probably, for Texas, the most promising thing, the most optimistic thing is that now with Tyrese Hunter, with that career high for him with 26 points, you got a guy that can break down pretty much any defense they try to present to you.
Yes, and he can shoot the three well enough that you know that you have to get out on him.
Yeah. But
he can also drive on you and play that way.
He's got the burst.
I mean, and then you throw in the fact that we talked so much yesterday about how the game was going to be called and worrying about guys getting in foul trouble.
I thought they let him play, but man,
they did, and so basically what they did was, if you play good, clean basketball, but it's physical, we will let you play.
And then later on, they
tightened it up a little bit when it would get chippy.
Yeah.
So when they started to reach in and Texas was going like, oh, we can play hard, and started going in with hands, then they're like, you can't be swatting across them. But if you just want to bump them a lot, you can bump a lot. If you want to go in and try and, go for 50-50 balls,
Yeah.
we're fine with that. But the fact they were able to continue Chris Beard's rotation, like that rotation, he runs one of the tightest rotations of guys in, guys out, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3
Wants to
minutes.
keep guys fresh,
And it keeps the guys
defensive
going
intensity.
in. And so when
Yeah.
you see a Drew Timmy having to be in there for more and more and not getting breaks, but you're constantly getting a fresh guy. So you're not able to wear down any of their guys
It's true.
because, all right, now it's Christian Bishop on you. Okay, now it's Dylan DeSue on you. Okay, now it's Brock Cunningham on you. Okay, now Timmy Allen's going to come on you for a minute. All right, we're back to Dylan DeSue. Okay, it's Christian. And you're like, every, 6 possessions, you have another guy guarding. You're like, how am I supposed to wear them down? And then offensively, I'm having to keep mentally changing how I'm guarding somebody.
Yeah.
As well as, all right, this guy's stretching the floor on me. All right, this guy's going here. This guy's now a
Remembering
screener.
the scouting report of every
And
guy.
we're going to run him through as many
Yeah.
screens as we can. Like that kind of stuff, to be able to implement your will that way, it's game-changing to allow yourself to be able to go, to have the length of new guys in there like Jabari Rice to kind of help out, spell it when you don't necessarily have that height. But defensively, they looked really, really good. And then you throw in Tyrese Hunter and so many guys shooting well.
Yeah, no, I think the defense would probably be the top highlight for me. The defense, it just suffocated the Zags. We kept waiting for that run from the Zags. It never came.
Yeah.
Every time they would have, I don't know, kind of a run, they would have a spark. Texas would just drown it out.
Well,
Texas responded really well every time they had a little bit of a spark.
Well, and that is a big thing too. If last year we had so many problems of this offense just completely having 6 minutes, 7 minute scoring droughts.
Yep.
And you go, well, that's not even them going on a run so much as you can't score. So if they score 12 points in that time where you can score 0, it's a 12-0 run.
Yep.
So that is a great way for a team to. Texas never had a point where they went 5 possessions without scoring, and they didn't allow Gonzaga to score every time down the court.
Yeah.
So if you were able to do that throughout a game consistently,
Especially
you're still
against-
in most games going to have somebody where someone gets hot. Like we saw Tyrese Hunter in that game.
He
hit
was hot.
3 threes,
He was
and
hot.
then takes a 4th one that was just a horrible
Hey,
shot.
heat check,
but
baby.
you is a heat
You gotta
check.
take that.
No, I get it, and it was just funny because you see him take it, and you're just like, come on now.
Hey,
I get
nobody
it,
objected.
But hey, when Chris Beard is on the sideline, I get it.
Usually Chris Beard's yelling and screaming. He's like, "Nah, you gotta go, brother. In a game like this." But you know what? Zay talked about that too, and I want to get your thoughts on it too because you've seen this team. He said they played with, and I thought it was a great description. He said they played with a certain freedom offensively.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great word to describe it because, yeah, there did seem to be a free flow within the offense that it didn't get bogged down like it did last season. I think a lot of it is Tyrese Hunter having a true point guard who's a real pace setter. But also, they seem like the guys have now more liberty, more freedom within the offense, and maybe that's because he just trusts them now. They're basketball IQs, and these are just better offensive players.
Yeah, and
Either that-
there is something to be said of you have a couple more shooters out there. There was also a point where you had Ramey and Andrew Jones last year who were good players, but they were used to a very different defense. This team now really isn't that old. They now are used to this. Or sorry, not the different offense. So they're not used to a different offense now. They're not used to, hey, I played 4 years in this one system, and now I'm going to try and play a 5th year in this other system.
That's good, but now they haven't developed those tendencies and bad
and
habits
so
or different habits.
the guys
yeah.
that have been in there a year, Dylan DeSuze and all them are now getting much more confident. But you have the new guys come in, they can fit right into it and play that motion offense that Chris Beard wants to play. But, I said it after that, the scrimmage against Arkansas, that we saw him and he went, the difference that I saw in that offense from the 2 games before Gonzaga is the team looked like it was having fun when it was playing offense. It looked like it was looking for a guy. Guys were taking shots. They weren't worried about – you always worry about a team worried about the coach benching them because they take a bad shot. Because if you play like that, you're missing a lot of opportunities. You're making passes you don't need to make. And we saw a couple passes like that last night, but not a lot of them.
Yeah.
The fact that they were looking like, oh, no, we know we can play like that. And a lot of it is just hitting some shots early.
Yeah, and
that
it's confident because there was no
yeah.
hesitation. Guys weren't hesitant.
Yeah.
Last year you saw sometimes guys get a pass and they'd be hesitant like, you know what, I'm just going to pass it.
Yeah.
And it was not that. Remember, Beard always said, only pass up a good shot for a great shot. I didn't feel like that mentality didn't hurt them in this game.
Exactly.
In fact, last year they almost thought about that too much.
Yeah, and I mean, and I've seen it with Spurs teams where, you get younger guys in there and they're used to playing and they go, oh, pop system, we got to do this. And like, no, man, if it doesn't feel right to you, then you're not going to be able to fit into it very well. it felt like this game, he kind of put the first 2 games of the season, he more or less had it like, hey, man, we really need to work on these things. We need to work on a few things, but we really need these things to be good. And that's when he went, oh, no, you're good enough. Go do it.
Yeah, you're right, because the three-point shot, that was a big complaint. I say that was a big issue early on. Still small sample size for Texas, but the three-point shot was going for them. They were 13 of 33 from three-point range, and they were hot early on from three-point range. I believe in the first half, Texas was around 44% from three-point range in the first half. And you're right, that set the tone for a confident team, a confident shooting team. And they were aggressive and confident the entire time. I really thought the performance of Dylan Dessou, you pointed it out earlier, but man, just what he did defensively. Really, it was a community effort, if you will, a team effort to neutralize Drew Timme. Because they threw Dylan Dessou at him. I mean, you saw at times Christian Bishop. Brock Cunningham did a really good job frustrating him at times. Hell, Brock Cunningham started a run on it by his damn self actually during that game. That dude's just a junkyard dog. They did a really good job of frustrating Timme, denying the entry to the post, making that really difficult, putting a lot of pressure on that entry pass. You talked about that, but also pushing Timme out, not letting him, get the ball really deep in that post. And they frustrated him. I mean, he had 5 turnovers. I mean, he had 7 field goals and 5 turnovers. I mean, it's been a while since Drew Timme's been that pedestrian, I guess is the word to say it. I mean, he was still really productive, but last year he had, 37 versus Texas?
Yeah, he dominated the team last year. And that's saying with him taking time on the bench because they were up by enough. So that was him putting up 37 pretty easily against Texas. And it is a thing where if you look at this team going forward, you're going to play better defensive teams than Gonzaga. So you're not going to put up the amount of points you put up. But you're also not going to play offensive teams that are as good as Gonzaga. So you can take it back and go, yeah, there is going to be where Texas is probably not going to average. Texas will probably average closer to 60 to 70 points than what they average in 90 or whatever they had in this game. It's just a question of can you get the stops on defense, come back down, and not get bogged down when you get put in that half court.
Yep.
And last year they got bogged down in that half court offense too much that I think now with Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter on the court together, they just do a better job of being able to drive to the basket while looking for their shot, but also looking for other guys. There was many where when they got help defense, they were able to hit the cutter.
Yep.
And that's an easy 2 points every time or an easy foul. Or you just get a wide-open mid-range jumper, which Marcus Carr is really good at.
Yeah, it did seem like more movement. Hards brought this up, too, without the ball for Texas on offense.
Well, it's emotion offense. Yeah. Like, you have to have that or it does not work. And
last year, they didn't have enough of it.
No, because last year you get bogged down. If you're not scoring, you just stop moving because you're like, what do you want me to do? I just ran a mile. You didn't. You passed me the ball once. I immediately passed it back out because there's a guy right on me.
Yeah. So,
but
frustration too.
Yeah, and you can run those screens. And I think what's funny is it's the thing that Chris Beard and his coaches will have to keep working on. But I think there was a lot of times that they were running screens more for a defensive sense. So, like, they're running a screen, but they're going, I want to tire this guy out.
To make Timme work.
Yeah, I want to make him work. Yeah. Then defensively, we'll be able to get to him. And you go, no, but always do that. Just always do that offensively.
That's a good plan.
Like, because even if you're not getting your guy open, there was one play where Tyrese Hunter basically, and there's a thing that it's hard for guys to do in the game, but he went across the screen. He saw the defender go under the screen. As soon as he did it, he went back across the screen and took the shot. So he goes, if you're going underneath the screen, then you can't get back to me before I get the shot off.
Yeah, I got space.
So I know that I can do that and go back and forth. That was kind of a thing we didn't have before, and it makes it too much harder to, all right, I'm going to make you go over, and if you go over the screen, I can drive on you and pick up a foul, or I can get right past you.
Yeah.
One of those two things can happen, or I can get in, you can't switch. There's just a lot of ways that can make it that if you find those little holes in a game where you go, well, they're trying to come out on you and they're trying to switch, all right, well, now we have a mismatch. We're just going to dunk it because we have a guy like Dylan Mitchell who will dunk on you if you switch on a screen.
I mean,
if you put a guard on him, he's flying. He will jump over their head.
He had 8 points. I believe all of his field goals were dunks. Every last one of them.
Yeah.
4 or 5. And he can. What I like about his game, he's willing to be a junkyard dog.
Oh, yeah.
He's a freakish athlete. He had 9 rebounds in that game.
Play good defense.
He had a steal. Yeah, he had 2 offensive rebounds, I believe.
That's the thing is I don't think you can play on this team and not have a little bit of it in you.
Well, it rubs off on you because half the guys out there are junkyard dogs.
Yeah, and I don't think Chris Beard is the type of coach. It's like that's not acceptable if you're not going for the ball. I mean, we saw Brock Cunningham, games well decided. It's like a minute half left in the game. There's a ball that rolls out, and he goes diving into the scorer's table and smashes his back, and everybody freaks out. You're like, yeah, he doesn't have another speed.
And that's why Beard loves him.
Yeah.
That's exactly why he's a Beard guy through and through, no question. Yeah, man, they had a lot of guys that really played with a ferocious intensity. And I think that's why they forced 20 turnovers. Now, you could say that probably the Zags have a turnover issue because I think they had 18 versus Michigan State, too.
Yeah, that I will give them. That was on a boat.
That's true. Good point. It was on an aircraft carrier. But yeah, 20 turnovers. But what I love about the 20 turnovers forced for Texas, 27 points off of those turnovers.
Yeah.
So those live ball turnovers, they got out in transition for some of those. 12-2 advantage in fast break points. This is a team their defense needs to create offense more consistently. Well, every game it should because they have one of the best defenses. If not, some people may be calling it the best defense in the country. It's definitely in that conversation.
It is, and I mean, and it's a team that's a little bit deeper than I think a lot of us were going to project it to be earlier in the season.
Timmy Allen had 2 points. Your lead scorer from last year.
But
2 points.
You can keep going down this bench and finding more and more players who are willing to step up and can step up. Arterio Morris didn't have a great game, missed some shots. He will, throughout this season, start to get that stroke back that he had in the Arkansas scrimmage where he just started nailing 3 after 3. He definitely has no problem taking the shot.
So did this game look like the Arkansas scrimmage?
Not really, because Arkansas scrimmage was definitely not as physical.
Okay.
So this game was a lot more physical in that sense. But yeah, like I can't remember the exact stat for bench points, but Texas bench outscored because Gonzaga basically runs an 8-man rotation, and Texas bench outscored them in the first half like 27-7 or something like that.
Yeah, they had 20 bench points or something like that in the first half. Yeah, you're right. They had a lot of bench points in the first half.
And that was the thing is like if you're able to have your bench come in and you're able to spell your guys, so in the fourth quarter, when normally it's a problem of, hey, man, they make that run because you just expended all your energy and you're jumping up and signaling to the crowd and trying to get everything. Like you just burn yourself out by the game. I mean, we saw Tyrese Hunter, and this is going to be an ongoing issue, is that he cramps up.
Yeah, but this
so
is
usage. This is the third game he's done it in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying I think it's going to be a continued issue that they just have
physiological thing than anything
exactly.
else.
So there's some guys that are just more predetermined, prone to cramps.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something where they're going to be like, hey man, we just have to really keep hydrating this guy throughout games.
Yeah, you do, and you got to watch basically you have to make sure that you reserve him for the money time when you need him.
Well, and that's the thing is if you take him out, and that's when you can get a cramp because you come out of the game for a minute and then you go back in.
Yeah.
So it's just I think they're trying to figure out that rotation. Believe me, there is enough sports science at the University of Texas that they will keep getting better and better at it.
It won't just be pickle juice.
But
I assure you.
But the fact that they didn't need him and he's running hobbling back to the locker room to try and work that cramp out in between. You see him just so mad there because he's like, I just want to be
out there.
And then finally they let him come back in. They go, we're good. We wouldn't have put you back in if you could, man.
Yeah, man. No need. But you're right. It's so many different impressive storylines for the Texas basketball team. Obviously, it's tough to get to all of them. I like Sir Jabari Rice's game, too. I thought he's
another one of those, like, glue guys.
Yes.
That he just seems very happy to be here. He seems happy to be playing on a good team. He's talked already about how much he loves the Moody Center. So, like, everything that you could see of just a great addition to a team where you add a transfer portal guy, but it's not necessarily a guy where you're like, we got to get this guy the ball, and he's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
He's already left one place he's not happy at. And
he's literally willing to fill in wherever needed.
He knows he has the best chance to make it to the next level to do what he does best, which is everything at a high level, but not elite level.
Yeah. No, I mean, Texas, trust me, there'll be plenty of opportunities for Texas this season because the Big 12, if Texas ends up being as good as we think, and then you got Kansas, I mean, Big 12 is going to be a showcase league for college basketball.
And and we got Creighton, who is the right now the number 10 team in the country.
Yeah.
Coming up on December 1st. That's going to be at the Moody Center.
That's going to be
so
big.
That's going to be a big one. They're going to be in New York playing Illinois, who's another good team, on December 6th. Like, that's all coming before we get to Big 12. You got 2 more big matchups before you get there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really exciting. Obviously, this team sky's the limit pretty much. I believe Ken Palm now has them as the number 1 ranked team in the Ken Palm ratings too. And also about the mood and the atmosphere, I'll give it up for all involved. And Chris Beard was heavily involved too. And shout out to CDC, Chris Del Conte, and everybody involved. That was, like I said, that was a religious experience. It was fantastic.
So am I right in telling you have to go experience it to understand understand what we're telling you.
Yeah.
Because
you
I
do.
could tell you all the things of, hey, man, this is loudest, this is that. And until you go and you're like, oh, I get it with the students there, and I get it with the
man.
music they're playing and the lights and the fact they have those baffles down, but there's lights on there. And
Oh man, yeah, like you were saying about how the sound's got nowhere to go, it like bounces back at you.
Yeah.
You get yeah, right. And like sometimes it comes in waves. The sound does. It's great. You can tell it's a true home court environment. And Chris Beard's idea to have the students right there by the court makes all the difference.
Yeah.
It's a different energy. It just says, sorry, I know the people who pay the big money, they want to be by the court, and the big money's still there.
they are.
The big money's still
There's,
there.
believe me, there's still big money
Yeah.
around us.
I know exactly. They wanted more big money around there, but there is no doubt at all that the young people, they just got a different energy than even the big money that would be
and
down
I think
there.
I think
period.
from the things I've seen of the big money people that I've seen around, they're enjoying it too because now they're part of something special.
Yeah.
Versus before we were like, man, you're just up there with other rich people.
Exactly.
But now you're like, I'm up here at one of the top facilities for college basketball in the country.
Yeah.
And to be there is something different. And that's what I'll tell you. I mean, there's going to be a lot of chances before we get to Big 12 play of some smaller schools. There'll be tickets available.
I would, yeah.
Try
take
and get out
advantage.
to a game,
Take advantage.
and you will see it and just be like, oh, okay, I understand more. Because it won't be as loud as it was last night,
Yep.
but it will still get loud at a lot of these games, and you'll be like, this? For
what
this
if I
team,
came to-
we're playing Texas A&M,
Exactly.
community college.
Yeah. What if we come to the Kansas game or the Texas
Yeah.
Oklahoma game or
But if
something
you
like
can't,
that?
like a cheaper ticket will be out there that you can go, and
Yep.
I mean, there is not a bad seat
And there really
because
is. I know
there is no
people say that
upper
all the
deck.
time,
Like there is
yeah.
no big upper deck. You're in.
It's a great. Like I went there for the Chris Rock. It's made for basketball. So as a Chris Rock video, it wasn't as good. It's made for
I will
basketball.
tell you that tells you how there's no bad seats in there. They did a thing in the game where they showed up there and they're like, all right, student section cheer, blah, blah, blah. And they had everybody and they said upper bowl. And no one cheered because no one realized they were in the upper bowl.
Yeah, nobody's up there.
They didn't realize. No, but there was. What they meant was if you are not on the court level, so you're that one step higher,
Oh yeah.
you were in the upper bowl. But people didn't realize that because that's how good the seats are.
Yeah.
So when you can say no one cheered, you're like, oh, that should tell you that no one thinks, oh, no, I'm upper.
Yeah,
But
you're
you
right about
are.
that. And they had a standing room only.
Now
section
they're a little
at
bit
the-
higher.
at the
It's
very
a student
top up there.
spillover. It's a
Yeah.
student spillover, yeah.
That's weird. I was like, what is that? I didn't
No,
even
it's
know what
all
that
the
was.
students who didn't fit into the crowd.
Wow. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. It was a great experience. So they job well done and mission accomplished. They got a great basketball venue and one of the best home court advantages for Texas basketball, women as well, in all of college sports. So kudos to them. All right, we come back. Raj rant of the day, and we're gonna talk Texas. Actually, you know what? We're gonna bump the Texas football conversation. We're gonna talk about that top of the six. I want to talk some NFL. There's an NFL trend that I've been keeping up with all season long, and I thought at one point this would be an outlier, and then maybe this trend would start to go the other direction. Maybe it will reverse itself. Not the case. Actually, this may be the story of the 2022 NFL season. We'll talk about it on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. We all know that time is money. Well, my friends over at Apple Leasing, they're in the business of saving you both. They're going to save you time and save you money. And more importantly, they're going to find the value for you. Apple Leasing is the perfect place to get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. They have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. All it takes is one phone call or a click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease, and makes, well, things very simple, all right? It's going to give you a lot more flexibility, which is going to lead to a lot more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is through the roof. We all know it. We all feel it. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, or buy anything for that matter. So leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. That's the value, my friends, that Apple Leasing can find for you. So give them a call today at 512 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977. And let them see how much money they can save you. Apple Leasing gets all the same discounts and all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to a Raj Rant of the Day right here on Ball Don't Lie. I want to talk about an NFL trend that I pointed out earlier in the season, but now we're closer to the halfway point in the season. I pointed this out like a month into the season, but now we're closer to the halfway point in the season, and you still have this trend right now in the NFL. Remember, I told you scoring is down in the NFL. Scoring is down, total points per game, lowest point total since 2010. Is at 43 points per game. That's between the two teams combined total. It's actually down from last year's total. Also, if you look at the parity in the NFL, points margin of victory actually is the lowest that it's been since, I believe the lowest since they started keeping track of it in 1983. So they hypothesized it could be even, obviously further back than that, but they started keeping track of it in 1983. 9.3 points of average margin of victory, lowest since they started keeping track of it. And if you go look at the average scoring total per team, points per game per team, it's at 21.8 points. That's the lowest in 13 years too. So all these numbers are down. The NFL is not happy about this, by the way, because the NFL is upset about the points being down. They're trying to figure that out. Trust me, you probably get some rule changes in the offseason. The biggest factor probably in affecting the scoring has been the passing efficiency or lack thereof. Yards per completion is down. 11 yards per completion is the lowest since 1933. So basically the lowest in the modern era of football. But one thing that is up, and this is kind of the trend that I think is really starting to become the theme of the season, if you will, yards per carry. 4.5 yards per carry is the average in the NFL right now. It's the highest in NFL history. And like I said, that's been the case all year long. Like I said, I started tracking this like a month into the season. That has been the case all year long. We've been dealing with, and the previous high, I think it was like 4.38. So you're talking about a huge jump in terms of your rushing yardage. And interesting enough, I semi-predicted this would happen. This is in a very strange quasi way. If you remember, I started talking about the ecosystem of the Big 12 and how the Big 12 went through a evolutionary change, evolutionary adaptation, if you will, after the air raid took over the Big 12. The air raid essentially takes over the Big 12, all these, vertical passing concepts, horizontal passing concepts, pace and space concepts, and the defense in the Big 12 trying to adapt to their ecosystem, they decide, all right, we're not getting whipped by these passing offenses anymore. We're going to back our safeties up. And they back their safeties up a lot of too high, deep safety coverages, right? Your cover fours, your inverted Tampa 2 now, which is the flyover defense my man Ian Boyd talks about, which is basically 3 high safeties that we talk about. You start evolving to dropping more players in coverage, dropping 8 in coverage, right? Iowa State famously with their drop 8 coverage. Now everybody in the Big 12, not everybody, but most of the teams in the Big 12 running that 3 high, 3 down, in addition to running a lot more 2 deep coverage with 2 high shells with 2 safeties. And when that happened, the kind of natural, really evolutionary shift by the offenses, since they're backing the safeties up, was the offenses went from air raid offenses throwing the football horizontally, vertically, and trying to stretch you and stress you with pace and space. They said, you know what, let's work smarter, not harder, and let's just hand the ball off, because they're dropping. They got 3 deep safeties and they got 2 deep safeties and they're dropping 8. Well, that means we got the numbers advantage in the box. And all the Big 12 offenses, a lot of them became these hybrid spread schemes. I mean, Jeff Howe talks about that all the time. And these hybrid spread schemes started to become run-oriented spread schemes. And remember I talked about how PK miscalculated the Big 12, thought it was a passing conference. No, the Big 12 is a running conference cross-dressing as a passing conference. So once you had all these teams dropping 8 and having 2 and 3 deep safeties, teams started running the football more. That's when you get Baylor and their RVO offense, a reliably violent offense. Hell, even with Iowa State, when they were in their prime, had their 3 tight end packages. And K-State with Deuce Vaughn, they want to run the rock. We know Sark, RPO-based offense that wants to run the rock when you give it to us. You had all these teams that became more run-oriented. It was just easier, right? It just made more sense. Now, with teams running the ball more, you started to see teams play less 2 high shell looks in the Big 12, and they're starting to play some more single high looks to get extra guys in the box. Single high means 1 safety. So the NFL, similarly, is going through the same transmogrification. And I predicted, I said, if the Big 12 is a laboratory, really a experimental laboratory for football, which I believe it is. You got a lot of great offensive and defensive minds in this conference, a lot of cutting edge, progressive philosophies in this conference about football. If that's the case, the NFL is going to go through the same thing, because the NFL started to at one time look like an air raid league. People started saying, oh, the NFL looks like the Big 12. Man, people are throwing the football all around. You even had Big 12 representation with guys like Patrick Mahomes out there and Kyler Murray. It literally looked like the Big 12 with Big 12 quarterbacking, which is a lot of the reason that a lot of those concepts, air raid-ish concepts, trickled up to the NFL. So with that being said, NFL teams started doing what? Same thing Big 12 started doing, dropping their safeties back. To the point where, hell, even the NFL, they're running 3 high concepts. When Patrick Mahomes faced the Bucs in the Super Bowl, they ran a ton of 3 high to confuse Patrick Mahomes, going all the way back to his time facing Iowa State in the Big 12, which had popularized the 3 high, 3 down look. So the NFL, you saw an increase this year and last year in more 2 deep, 3% increase in 2 deep coverages, 3.5% increase in cover 4, the 4% increase in cover 6, just playing more 2 high deep, because you have Josh Allen's and Patrick Mahomes and all these big arm quarterbacks that are chunking the ball deep vertically. Well, now the NFL, after 3 or 4 years of dealing with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and all of these pace and space vertical passing games, NFL defenses have adapted. Just drop our safeties back. And just like the Big 12, what has been the evolutionary adaptation for the offenses? Well, if you're going to drop back every damn safety and drop 2 and 3 safeties back deep, I got the numbers advantage inside. I'm just going to hand it off. But I always say, football at its most rudimentary form, it's a numbers game. If you're losing at one place, you're winning it somewhere else. And if you're winning it someplace, you're losing it somewhere else. And that's what happened. So now the NFL deciding they're going to hand the ball off, and now that's why they're averaging 4.5 yards per carry, because the rest of the NFL, at least the defenses, are deciding to prioritize pass coverage, dropping guys back and saying, no, you can beat me with the run, hand it off, but you're not going to beat me with those haymakers over the top. And so you have the same thing happening. Now here's the twist. And this may be specific to the NFL. I got to study the Big 12 a little bit more to see if this experiment, if you will, right, if it tracks, if they're going in the same direction. Because one thing I'm noticing in the NFL is because at one point, the wide zone scheme took over the NFL. It became the most popular scheme, right? Sean McVay loves the wide zone scheme because he got it from Shanahan's. Their famous, zone blocking scheme, loved the wide zone. And after, Shanahan in the Super Bowl with the Falcons, and then with the 49ers, and then Sean McVay going to the Super Bowl and then winning one, then you got Green Bay with the Michael LaFleur. Everybody started running wide zone and outside zone because these were the most popular concepts in the NFL. And, the NFL goes back and forth, right? It's ebb and flow league. It's all about evolutionary adaptation, if you will. So since everybody started running the wide zone, probably for the last 6 years now, we've been watching this become the most popular run concept in the NFL. Well, team defenses started adapting, right? If you're going to keep running wide zone, and the wide zone basically, it forces defense. It strings out defenses, right? It makes them play down the line of scrimmage. And defenders now have been kind of taught, and almost they've evolved, and they have been developed to be kind of down the line of scrimmage defenders. Because you have a lot of people running the same concept. They're basically horizontal defenders as opposed to penetrating and getting upfield. And they become lighter, right? Because they're operating more in space. So your D tackles are lighter and your defensive ends are lighter. Your linebackers are lighter because they're operating more in space in a space and pace league that's throwing the football. And, now you have teams running that wide zone, and they're running the play action off the wide zone, right? So you want guys that can go sideline to sideline. When to go sideline to sideline, you got to be able to run, even as a D lineman, interior D lineman, or a defensive end. So they're lighter, so they can go sideline to sideline. You want beef up front that's going to be a space eater. That guy's going to be a little bigger. He probably ain't going sideline to sideline for you. So with that being said, defending the kinds of horizontal outside zone, teams, defenses have adapted. Well, now in the NFL, the new evolutionary leap, if you will, is that they stop running outside zone as much, In 2021, they were running inside zone 31% of the time. They're running outside zone around 27% of the time. Now, teams are running inside zone around 30% of the time in 2022, running outside zone around 24% of the time. So you got drops in the frequency of the inside and outside zone concepts, and you have an increase in the frequency of the power and the counter gap schemes. Right? So now in 2021, teams are running power 28% of the time. They're running counter 27% of the time. Now, 2022, teams are running counter 32% of the time. They're running power nearly 33% of the time. And how about these numbers? In 2021, the inside and outside zone averaging 4 yards per rush, 4.3 yards per rush. Power and counter in 2021, 4.2 yards per rush, 4.4 yards per rush. Modest. All right, that's modest gains. In 2022, your inside and outside zone, it's about the same. 4.4 yards per rush, 4.3 yards per rush. Your power and counter schemes, 5.3 yards per rush and 5.2 yards per rush running power and counter. Why? All your defenders are light. They all been bred and developed to run down the line of scrimmage. Your D tackles are lighter. Look at it. Look at Aaron Donald. What, 275, best defender in football. Are your linebackers lighter? Your defensive ends are lighter. So let's run right at them as opposed to running down the line of scrimmage in the outside zone. Now we're going right at these light bodies. And what's going to be you can almost predict what the evolutionary adaptation will be for the defense. Bigger bodies. Bigger bodies. That's why the Eagles are getting the Ndamukong Suh. It's like, nah, I need a big body inside. Big bodies inside are going to become more popular. Jordan Davis with the Eagles.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys just traded for Hankins.
Yeah, it's going to become more popular because now teams are running right at you again with gap and pounder schemes. So you need bigger, you need girth. You need girth inside. It's amazing how the ecosystem, you can see the evolution. And smart teams do it quickly, and some teams are not quick enough. You know what I mean? But there you go. The Big 12, I bet if I stayed the Big 12, it's probably going through something very similar. Because the Big 12, remember, there are a lot of teams running the outside zone. Texas loves the outside zone. Baylor loves the outside zone. Oklahoma State loves the outside zone. Love the outside zone in the Big 12. Big 12's a light league anyway with a lot of hybrid defenders. Somebody's going to decide, you know what, to hell with it. Let's just run power and counter constantly on them. Downhill. We'll see. Texas might be able to do it anyway, considering the running backs they have. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into Justin Verlander. Good news for him winning a Cy Young Award, and hopefully he's signing back with the Houston Astros. Go Astros! We'll talk about that on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday, and the theme of the day is to be thankful. Thanksgiving on the horizon, so my man Patrick figured, hey, never too early to show a little gratitude and show how thankful we all should be for the blessings we have. So Thanksgiving, basically, is the theme for New Theme Thursday. So I want to thank Patrick for all of his hard work. You can always be a part of the show. Specs Text Line is the best way to do it, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Davis in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick at It's Patrick Davis. My man Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Good news for Justin Verlander. He won his Cy Young, his third Cy Young. He's the 11th pitcher to win 3+ Cy Young awards. Joins Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Steve Carlton. Roger Clemens got 7 of these. And Randy Johnson has 5. Steve Carlton has 4, along with Greg Maddux. And then there's the groups of 3. There you go. Also, Verlander becomes the first pitcher in history to win a Cy Young award after not pitching in the previous season. That also was really impressive. And on the other side, it was Sandy Alcantara, I believe, that won it. So the second time both Cy Young awards were also unanimous. The winners were unanimous votes. And that happened in 1968. So congrats, Justin Verlander. Now the big topic of discussion, will Verlander re-sign with the Astros? Right now it ain't looking very likely, considering I believe it was dropped by Jim Crane. He dropped the little nugget that Verlander is seeking a deal similar to Max Scherzer, who signed a 3-year, $130 million contract with the Mets a year ago. That's a big number. Think he'll get it? He'll get the number on the open market, but he wouldn't get it from the Astros.
I'm not sure if he'll get it from the Astros.
He won't get it from the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if how close they are, or how much the number is. I mean, you remember they still don't even have technically a general manager right now.
Yeah, and Jim Crane, by the way, he said he's in no rush. Here is his quote. He said, "We've got some names. I'm going to take my time on it this time." He said, "Last time I was in a little crunch. I didn't have a GM, and I didn't have a manager. We've got a pretty good, solid baseball ops team that's been around. Furcus and Charles Cook had been with the team a while. We're going to interview a bunch of people and see where we land with that. I don't expect anything to happen before the first of the year." So he's taking his sweet time on it.
He's taking his sweet time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing you might want to reach out to Verlander and just be like, "Hey, we want to pay you. Just let you know, we want to pay you. We won't want to pay you."
Yeah, I'd like him back too, but I don't think the Astros are. I don't think it's going to happen. If he wants that Scherzer deal, maybe he can give him a hometown discount or something. But he is coming off a Cy Young award, so
he is. He's also he's also got some years on him. But I mean, I get it. If I'm the Astros and I realize how lucky I am to have a lot of guys that I'm not paying a ton of money to, and go, well, look, but by the time I'm gonna have to pay them in 2026, 2027 is when I'm really going to have to start shelling out some money to stay a competitive team.
Yeah.
But I also have the chance to win a couple more World Series before then, and we'll see where we're at in 2026, 2027. Maybe I just go ahead and pay Verlander because, I mean, are you going to go on the free agent market and spend money elsewhere, or are you just going to let it ride?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you don't know what the position is at first base. You don't know what you're going to do in left field. There's a few answers to have, and so I think if you win the World Series, you normally are supposed to open up the checkbook.
That's
and they
usually the
don't
case.
have a lot of free agents right now. So you don't have to open up the checkbook to keep people. Like to
Yeah, you're right. Yuli, I think, is the guy that they have that Jim Crane openly said we'd like to keep.
Yeah,
Yuli.
Yuli's still there, but Yuli's aging as well.
That's
and then Michael Brantley is
Brantley's a
another
free
one
agent.
that. So it's like, do you really want to? You don't necessarily have to go out and get other people. You can just kind of keep those guys and ride it, but you can't let them go. Not bring anybody else in,
and then expect
to play as well as you did this year.
Expect to be able to contend for a championship again. No, I'm with you. It'll be interesting to see. Jim Crane is not in a rush, obviously, to sign a new GM, which may hold up, obviously, any signings they get in the offseason as well. So we'll come back. We'll get into Texas, Kansas, and preview that. We'll hear from Coach Sark as well during his Zoom availability earlier today. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It's me thinking about the Golden Girls. Man, is this like, this is obviously prior to the Golden Girls or based on the Golden Girls song? What?
I would guess it's prior because it came out in '78.
There you go.
So I would
All right,
assume
just wanna
it's
make sure.
prior, and they just
want
used
to
it
make
for
sure.
it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard this song. I think I always associate these lyrics with the Golden Girls song.
I mean, it is the Golden
it is
Girls
a song.
song.
But it's like I was
Yeah.
associate it with the theme
You
song.
didn't
of the
realize it
show.
was a real song too.
I don't think I actually realized it was a real song. I think this might be the first day I realized it was an actual real song and not just a theme song to a show. I thought it was like specifically made for the show potentially. I don't think I've ever heard it outside of that.
Yeah, it's by Andrew Gold.
Did not know that. Good for him because I've been shortchanging Andrew Gold all these years because I've been thinking it was like a Golden Girls theme song. And I love television theme songs.
I mean, does it help that his name is Gold?
No. Not really.
Does it help the Golden
Golden
Girls?
I know.
Golden?
I'm just saying, like, I couldn't believe that I've lived on, and I love the Golden Girls show too. Big fan of the Golden Girls show. Big fan of the theme song. Love them both. And turns out, learn something new every day. That's why I love my man Patrick, always enlightening me here on the show. That's what New Theme Thursday is all about. And the new theme of this Thursday is about being thankful, a little gratitude, because we got Thanksgiving coming up. My man Patrick's trying to get you in the mood already. Speaking of the mood, we talked a lot about the mood, the Moody Center in Texas basketball's big win over the Zags. Now it's time to get back to Texas, Kansas. I believe my man Patrick called it Revenge Week. Is that what you're labeling?
Yeah, we're going with Revenge Week.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked it up. It was November 13th of last year. That was the day that we lost to Kansas at home and then got destroyed by Gonzaga that night.
Wow. Man,
So, it was
most
one
Longhorn
day.
fans have decided to forget that and not even remember it at all. But that's a great point you bring. Nobody else has brought up that point.
That it was a
happened
day.
on the same day.
It was on the same day. And I think what helps is I
Too
was
much
at
trauma.
a bar where the bartender thought it was really funny how mad I was.
Yeah. And once I think most Longhorn fans have tried to forget that day, no matter if you're a basketball or a football fan.
Yeah.
Or if you're a Longhorn fan, I did not realize it was on the same day. I think I was so upset. Yeah,
Well, I think a lot of football fans didn't even watch the Gonzaga game necessarily like right after.
because you were just so
yeah, because you're like, I don't
traumatic.
want to watch sports anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Sports is ruined for me for a while.
But I'm a basketball guy, so I was watching that, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to redeem it. We're going to, you know what? This is how it's going to, universe is going to even it out.
Oh, man.
And the universe did not even it out.
And they're not even it out
But we're
now.
going to even it out this year.
I hope so. I think you're right, man. Revenge Week. The Longhorns have been talking about revenge, the revenge tour, which the football team has all season long. And, if you're talking about the revenge tour, there's no team that deserves it more than the Kansas Jayhawks. We'll hear from Steve Sarkisian here in a second. Also, some sound that we're going to play from Trent Dilfer that I got a chance to pull because he was talking about Quinn Ewers. He does mispronounce his name. He calls him Ewers instead of Ewers. But I think it was a very interesting and kind of analysis of Quinn Ewers' quarterback development. We know Trent Dilfer works with the Elite 11 and has been, I think he's actually a high school coach right now, but also has done analysis work in the NFL, was an NFL quarterback himself. I thought it was a very interesting take. And his take is very similar to my take. You've heard me give this exact take, not the exact one he's giving, but one very similar to point out what I think the issues may be for Quinn Ewers. So we'll get into that too coming up here in just a second. Talking Texas, Kansas. Before we do that, we're going to hear from Coach Sark as well because he had his Zoom availability today, and we'll get into that. We'll hear from him talking about the running back from Kansas, which is, he's spectacular. Not a lot of people talking about Devin Neal, but he is one of the best running backs in the country. Turns out the Big 12 got like 3 or 4 of them guys. But I also want to get into, and I brought this up earlier, give C.J. Vogel some credit, some props, because we've talked about on this show actually before it became really a hot topic about the progressions of Quinn Ewers and what he's looking at, what he's supposed to be looking at, what he's reading pre-snap and post-snap, and if that can be any way to try to figure out how to remedy the issues, the troubles, right, the growing pains he's currently going through. And one of my big at least critiques, suggestions has been, and even before the season started, I was saying, you know what, quick game. They got to start getting the ball out of his hands quicker and getting it to your playmakers' hands so they can work in space, they can get you yak yards, and try to avoid the long, vertical, deep shots for now. When Quinn Ewers is confident again and comfortable, get back to throwing them bombs. But right now, Quinn's not comfortable. I think we can all agree. I mean, maybe Sark thinks he's comfortable, but my eyes are telling me Quinn's not comfortable right now, and he's not very confident in the offense. And the easy way to get a quarterback confident is to just throw quick passes, easy completions, high percentage passes. It's like, somebody who's a shooter that's struggling in basketball. What do they say when you're struggling in basketball, Patrick? What do they tell people you're struggling to shoot?
Yeah, man, get to the free throw line.
Man, get an easy bucket.
Get an easy bucket. Get
Easy
to the free
bucket.
throw line.
Get an
See
easy
it
bucket.
go in.
Exactly, right? That's what I think Quinn is exactly right. I think he's got kind of the yips right now, and he just needs to see a completion. And we went through like that in the first quarter against TCU without a completion. May have went longer than that. But my point is this: I think Sark's his fixation, his obsession with those deep passes has affected the development of his young quarterback Quinn Ewers. And it could just be not only is he fixated on the deep ball, but Quinn Ewers' arm it's basically enabling his fixation. Because Quinn Ewers' arm can make any throw. He can make any throw. It's like, oh, no, I can make any throw. So I can dial up any passing concept, any route combination. It's like, actually, you can, but should you? You know what I mean? Yeah, you could do that, but this is the right thing to do for your quarterback. So CJ Vogel of Football Brainiacs, I brought these numbers out earlier. I thought they were really intriguing numbers about Sark's obsession with the deep ball and how I think it has had a debilitating effect on the offense. So here's what he points out: the percentage of passes attempted over 20 yards in Sark's offense over the last 4 years. Obviously, 2 of those at Bama, 2 of those here at Texas. In 2019 and in 2020, you're at 15% and 13.2%. In 2021, that number jumps to 16% with Casey Thompson and Hudson Card, and now it's at 20.3%. In 2022, the percentage of passes over 20 yards or more. And by the way, I think all the Longhorn fans, Patrick, would be on board for an increased, higher frequency of deep passes if they were connecting on them.
Yeah.
But they're not connecting on them.
Well, yeah. No, it's always right. It's the concept of if something's not working and you did the other, we're in favor of the other because the first thing's not working.
It's not working.
So if we were all going over the middle and going 3 and out because it's a 2-yard gain and a 1-yard gain and a sack, and we went, oh yeah, throw the ball downfield. Look, everyone's bunched up. We go, throw the ball downfield. Are you crazy? Throw the ball downfield. But if you always throw the ball downfield, and so they can sit back and put 3 safeties back and just go like, yeah, we can guard 2 deep threats now because we'll double Xavier every single time. We're good because we know what you're going to do.
We know it.
And then you keep doing that, and then you go, well, if I did the other, you'd be mad. Like, no, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Promise you we wouldn't.
I would, and he's basically hinted that he's not going to stop taking these shots. By the way,
No.
They asked him, he's like not going to stop taking the shots. And you know what? Maybe he can keep taking the shots. But man, I would like him to start dialing up higher percentage throws for his quarterback. Like I said, a lot more quick game. What about the screen game for your running backs? Bijan Robinson didn't have a target in the TCU game. Screen game for guys like Keelan Robinson and your running backs too. I think that would help get your quarterback in a groove and in a rhythm. So some more stuff from my man CJ Vogel here. He says average distance of throw last 4 years in Sark's offense. Tua 8.7 average distance of throw in 2019. Mac Jones 8.8. Casey Thompson, 9.8. Quinn Ewers, 11.5. Why?
Why does it keep going up? Yeah.
Why is the distance of the throw in his? And you know what I think it is, Patrick? I think it was Saban. I think this has always been Sark. This is all he's always been a big game hunter.
Yeah.
Wants to go downfield, wants to take those deep shots. I think he was being, to a sense, the checks and balances being regulated by Saban going, yeah, Sark, no. I need you to dial that back. We need the offense to be a little bit more quarterback friendly. I want higher percentage passes. I want yak yards. And I think now that Sark's, he's unchecked. It's his offense. It's his program. Sark can do what he wants to do, and Sark wants to throw that damn thing downfield. He wants to.
So he's more in the Pete Carroll mindset still at USC of coming up in that Pete, like, hey, we got a good quarterback. We can throw the ball. And it's not the Sark that we knew with the Falcons when he had Dan Quinn, a defensive mind, to sit with him and say, hey, man, if you throw that, I'll pick it off. Like, my defensive mind, I know how to stop that.
That's actually interesting.
And you have Dick Saban, who's a defensive mind. He goes, you throw that, I can stop that. And then he works with an offensive mind, and then he's the guy now, so he can sit there and go, oh, no, I know I can do this.
Yeah,
it's not about what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
It's what I can stop and what I can't stop.
I do. I think it's Saban. I think you're right. And that's a good point about the defensive philosophy of Saban automatically fighting against that. No. We don't just take deep shots downfield. That's a wasted down.
Because he had that when he was at the Falcons as well with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, because Dan Quinn had veto power, if you will, or Saban had veto power on those types of calls, so they wouldn't allow him to get to a 20% deep ball rate or anything like that. So anyway, so getting back to it, because I think C.J. Vogel did a good job here. And by the way, you should follow him at C.J. Vogel, VOGEL _ TFB for Football Brainiacs. Those guys do a good job. So scoring, and obviously his scoring offenses have been affected because at Bama he had top 2 scoring offenses in 2019 and 2020, and here at Texas those were dropped obviously last year because the team had pass protection issues, quarterback issues as well, uncertainty there, instability there. We're 18th and 34th, but now passing offenses 48th and 41st here, and at Bama you were, of course, top 5 passing offenses in the country. So to me, I think it seems pretty obvious that although I think when I always say football, and I was told this by a really good coach who's still coaching in the league, I believe, football and life are constant struggles between what you want to be and what you need to be in order to survive. We all want to be something, but we got to pay the bills, right? We gotta make sure we put food in our mouths. There are certain responsibilities and obligations that'll probably keep you from being everything that you want to be. You're probably gonna have to find a compromise between what you want to be.
I want to go out every night and go drinking,
exactly,
and have fun and go see bands every night. Can't do that. It's
you
not
got
reality.
A job, or you got to get
I got a job.
5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So you can't do that, right? So what you want to be, what you need to be. Football's the same way. I know what Sark wants to be. I know what he wants to be. He wants to be a big game hunter who can threaten teams with the run game. And if you want to stack the box against the run, pretty simple. I'm going to chunk it deep. Pick your poison. You want me to chunk it deep on you? You want to die the death of 1,000 cuts, or you want me to break out this haymaker on you and put you out of your misery? That's what he is, big game hunter. All right, you stack the box, I throw it deep. You guard the deep ball, I run the rock. Pretty simple. All right, but when you're not hitting the deep ball, that conundrum that you present to the defense, it's not that tough to solve. It's not that difficult to try to figure out, because if Quinn, that's why teams are now deciding, let Quinn Ewers beat you. I'm gonna stack the box. I'm gonna put 9 in the box if I have to.
Yeah, I'm a double X-Man and put 9 in the box.
And because Quinn Ewers can't beat me.
Yeah.
So your hypothesis about, if they load the box, I just chunk it deep and I make them pay for that. You're not making them pay. They're not paying for it. They're not paying for stacking the box. And I think that's why everything is breaking down for him. And his young quarterback is struggling. But here's the last thing before we get to the sounds. I want to play this Trent Dilfer sound, then we'll get to some Sark sound. So the last thing he points out is that when you look at Quinn Ewers' yards per attempt based on areas of the field, when he's throwing it 20-plus yards downfield, averaging 7.1 yards per attempt, that ranks 12th in the Big 12. Not even 12 teams, but it ranks 12th. 30% completion percentage ranks 10th in the Big 12 when you're throwing the ball 20-plus yards downfield. But passes at the line of scrimmage, he's averaging 9.3 yards per attempt. So he's at the line of scrimmage, so he's throwing it. This is a simple, dump off or a check down or whatever it may be. But the athletes around him are elite athletes. You're dumping it down to a Bijan. You're checking it down to a Rojo. It's a screen to a Jay Witt. It's a screen to an X-Man.
You got JT Sanders.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah, that guy may catch it at the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards, but the yak, he'll get yards. He'll make plays. So for Sark, why don't you start scheming space closer to the line of scrimmage as an offensive mind? Scheming, which you can do, but create space close to the line of scrimmage so you can create yak yardage rather than trying to scheme up the deep shots, because it's obvious at this point it isn't working, and your quarterback isn't very efficient at it.
Yeah, and especially when you throw in the fact that you have Jay Witt, who is great catching a short pass and getting yak because he responds. Back. And then he's also another factor of he's a great blocker. That if you throw a short pass in front of Jay Witt's just leading the way for Xavier,
excellent
you get
blocker.
That lead block. So you're like, you have this key piece.
Totally agree with you.
That is so valuable for that kind of game.
It's so diverse.
And it's just like, he can do 2 things for me. So he can be the guy, or he can be my lead blocker. Yep. Plus, I can also throw a Bijan out there and run him out. There's just so many things you can do with him. And then he says after the game, he goes, what offensive player in the presser this week? What offensive player would stick out? And he goes, Jordan Whittington.
Yeah.
And they go, do you have another one? He goes, no.
Yeah,
He
and-
said no.
He said
to
no.
that answer.
Yeah.
No
And-
one else.
And his first, I think his first target came late in the second quarter. And then I believe in the, he only had one target, I believe, in the first half. And they found him in the second half. That's when he got those wide receiver screens and he started killing TCU on the perimeter.
I mean, and JT Sanders is not a great on the line blocker, but if you literally could say, hey, man, I'm going to stick out Bijan or Xavier Worthy out on this route, and I'm going to put JT Sanders and Jordan Whittington in front of him to lead the
To
way.
block DBs.
So, and then if I can leak out alignment or whatever else on anything else, great. But those two to get the pathway for a guy like Xavier Worthy, who is a punt and kick returner,
Yeah. No, you're
and
right.
get in that space,
Yeah.
I just, if I'm having trouble getting him the ball too, and you can tell that he's maybe losing steam because he's run, 17 football field lengths in a quarter and hasn't touched a ball yet.
Yeah. No, maybe.
Maybe I get in the ball and go, hey, man, go pick us up 35, and now you're feeling good. Now they're freaked out. Maybe the DBs have to cover you a little bit differently because they know you got blockers around you now and because you're trying to get the ball.
No question. And if everybody's double teaming X-Man, which it seems like that's the recipe, right? That's the blueprint. Decoy. If they're going to double him, use that against them. They're going to double him. Okay, then he's a decoy. We will run him on a certain route, an over or under route, just to make sure there are two guys on him. And his job really is to collect those two guys. Then that means we got the numbers advantage. That means somebody, more than one guy, is one-on-one. Find the one-on-one matchups. I hope in this game versus Kansas, because Kansas, by the way, is a terrible defense. They really are. They're one of the worst defenses in the country. I hope that Sark can get to a point where he humble himself enough, I should say, so that he can get his quarterback in a groove early. Maybe you can take the shots later on, but early on, get your quarterback confident. Get him in a rhythm. Just like you said, see it go in. Just an easy completions. I want his first 4 or 5 completions to just be easy. Easy, man.
I want you to be not the parent who complains because their kid should be doing extra level math because they're the smartest kid in the room, even though your kid ain't the smartest kid in the room. I want you to be able to go, oh, no, I'm going to help my kid. I'm going to put him in position to win because I know my kid's smart enough.
You know he's got the arm talent. We know he's got the arm talent. Everybody knows that. You ain't got to show that off to me. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. But don't put him in a position and don't necessarily coddle him where if you're worried that, hey, man, if we start throwing it over the middle and those little things, it's a little bit easier to get an interception because there's going to be more traffic. Maybe he's not going to read a linebacker right, or maybe he likes to throw the ball high. Maybe our wide receiver even just tips it off his hands, and that's an easy pick.
Yep.
I get why you're a little bit more scared of some of those things because I do see he does throw the ball high a lot.
You know what? We're going to get to that sound because that's a great point to bring up. Good segue.
But yeah, he throws the ball high, and you just go, well, maybe that's something maybe that's a reason you're not wanting to go over the middle as much.
Could be.
And do that because you're worried about interceptions. But if you protect him too much, you put him in the position he is now where he has no confidence because he has practice confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Practice confidence don't mean anything.
There ain't nothing in the game.
Because then you get hit in a game, and then you throw an interception, and then you throw the ball away, and the crowd starts booing, and the crowd starts laughing at you. And that practice confidence is gone.
No, and that's why that look on the sideline when he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's a scary look. He looks like, and I felt bad for him. He looked like he was on the verge of tears, and I get he's frustrated. He's not confident, and he looks confused. And I think not only will be a good idea, and I heard E. Hogan bring this up, I think it's a good idea, to have somebody on the sideline, talking to him face to face instead of on the phone because Sark's a little too busy being the head coach and A.J. Milwaukee's upstairs. But also, like I said, I think early on in the game, you get him in a groove with just some screen passes, the quick game, which Sark, Texas never throws the quick game. The slants, the hitch routes, the quick outs, it's rare. This is the game for it, in my opinion. And the reason is to get us to the Trent Dilfer sound. The reason that Quinn Ewers has been inaccurate at times, just making what some people consider very simple throws, is the footwork. He acknowledged it. He said his footwork needs work. He said it needs to improve. And Sark, he was asked about it and basically kind of just he kind of disregarded the question, basically. He said it was fine and he's doing well, but I think he just disregarded the question. But Trent Dilfer, who does the Elite 11 camps and obviously was a quarterback in the league and does analysis work for the NFL, or for ESPN for the NFL. He was talking to, I think it was Ryan Wassillo for the Ringer podcast, and they were talking about Quinn Ewers and he has a great, I have a great metaphor, if you will, here about, in comparison about Quinn Ewers' footwork, and he compares it to golf. It's a little lengthy, but I think it's pretty good. So here's Trent Dilfer talking about Quinn Ewers' footwork.
I think this is a really good analogy here, and I hope enough people are golf fans. You have to play it, but you're a golf fan. The driving range is the biggest liar in great golfers. Okay, so you can walk down a range, go to Whisper Rock in Arizona. It has the most pros, best place in the world. Shout out to my Whisper Rock buddies. And you can line up 95 guys across the range, and it's a ball striking clinic. It is there. You'll find amateurs, mid-am, semi-pro guys, mini tour guys, 52-year-old farts that shoot 68 on a Tuesday, and it's just a ball striking clinic. I mean, center of the face, high draw, low cut, whatever you want. Call your shot. These guys just can stripe it. And then you go tee it up and play $100 one downs. And you'll find that a lot of the guys that can stripe it can't get it in the hole because they're so concerned with hitting the ball great. They become ball striking junkies. They forget that the goal of the game is to get it in the hole as fast as possible. Quinn Ewers is that. He's been that since high school. He is still that. He is a generational thrower, Jeff George type thrower. But the boring things like chipping and putting and 75-yard wedge play, those carryovers to football, which are footwork, eye work, timing, eye manipulation, pocket movement, the boring things that actually make you great, he's never taken the time to fall in love with. Now, will he? I think Sark's a really good coach. I think he will. So I'm not indicting him in his future. I'm just saying that is exactly who he is. He's the guy on the range you think is a +7. And then you get him on the fourth hole and you're like, man, I'm going to strip this guy. You know, and I did this for a long time. I was the +2 that would go strip these dudes that out ball struck me through the whole day, but I got in the hole faster than them. He needs to fall in love with the boring, monotonous stuff that comes with quarterbacking that will make him great. Because when I say a generational thrower, there have been a handful of people on the planet Earth that God has touched with the ability to throw a football like him. But it's not going to make him a winner. It's all the other stuff that will make him a winner.
That's right on the money. It is. I said last week, having a big time arm is great. It does help you in your pursuit to become a great quarterback, but it's not the end all be all. Having a great arm is like being well endowed. That doesn't make you a great lover. There's a lot that goes into that mix, right? There's a lot to consider that's going to make you a great lover, just like being a quarterback. Your footwork, your pocket presence, your leadership, your response to adversity, your body language, your accuracy, all those things. It's a ton of different data points you throw in there that end up making you a great quarterback. And then there's the immeasurables and the things that we can't really quantify at all. That is, he's got the it quality. He's got that it, whatever it may be. And I think that's a really good analogy by Trent Dilfer there about falling in love with the boring. Because there's nothing about Quinn Ewers' game that's boring. Right? We even liked the fact early on that he was throwing off-platform throws. Man, he can make that throw without even setting his feet. Woo-wee! And now we're like, damn, man, set your feet. So, right? It's like what was impressive early on about Quinn Ewers' game now has become a little bit annoying because I think it is hindering his development as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you've all seen baseball players that can hit the ball 200 miles, but they can't hit a curve. And we've all seen basketball players that can jump out of the gym, but they can't stay on the floor without getting fouls.
Yep.
Like, we've all seen those guys that don't work hard enough on the little things to make them a great player. And you go, you have every gift in the world.
All the raw materials.
But you just need to work that extra point, and you don't think you have to. And that's when, with Sark right now, you just want to go, you have to stop babying him at a certain point because you need to get on him because he can be great.
Oh, yeah.
And if you baby greatness, how long is that going to take?
That's a good one. Don't baby great. That's not like Kobe Bryant would say something like that. I like that, though. You're right, though. Because when your prodigies are pushed.
Yeah.
At every level, in every industry, every walk of life. We find a prodigy. We find a kid who in second grade is reading at a fifth grade level. We go, all right, kids, you got to go to fifth grade. I know it's crazy.
And if you don't, they're in art school.
No, I'm with you. That's a good point. And listen, you're not going to be able to fix his footwork during the season, but it should improve, right? You're not going to fix it. That's kind of an off-season project, but it should improve. And let's see in this game if it improves. Because he loves to make some of them throws where he's got the arm to make the throws, but, man, they could be a lot more accurate. And it's a bad habit to develop. Rather, you can make that little check down, with that sidearm and outsetting your feet, but that's a really bad habit because it's not going to work against every opponent. And when you get against elite competition or better competition, man, those little details, it makes all the difference.
Yeah. I think an easy way to do that, start changing up these progressions. I'll still use the word, even though I'm not sure they're there.
Yeah.
but you change them up so that maybe it's, hey, man, this guy's coming across. You have enough time to take 3-step drop, plant your feet, throw the ball, and we're not worried about a pass rush because you're not even looking downfield.
Because the ball's
You're not
out.
going to that thing. We're sending him.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he's open, we will tell you on the next play, like, hey, man, they know you're not
We'll
looking
run it
at him. We'll run it back and you can look at him. But make the decision for him a little bit easier and go, hey, man, this is where we're looking. You have two options. This guy, if that ball's not right there, you check it right down here. That is your two. And if that isn't there, throw it in the dirt. Don't care.
Basically doing half-field reads, essentially.
Yeah, but make it easy early in the game to go, now remember how good you are? Now you've been doing that. They notice your eyes haven't even looked at X-Man.
Yeah.
Look
now
at
we're going to take that shot. Now I'm going to ask you to look at that quick game, and then we're going to take it up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's why everybody asked him about the progressions was like, it's so he could specify, and he didn't, by the way. Are the progressions for deeper shots, or is the early progression for the deeper shots, or early progression for the more shallow routes? And I think he said basically sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's shallow.
Yeah.
Which I'm with you. Make it more shallow then. More shallow early reads.
Just try it. Just try it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we'll come back. Good discussion there. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Thursday night football game tonight, Packers and Titans. We'll give you our pick right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. I got to tell you, getting closer and closer to the weekend, and that means football, baby. And nothing goes better with football than Bud Light, America's favorite game and America's favorite beer. Football and Bud Light, that is a championship tag team. But not just football. I mean, Bud Light is great for anything, all right? That's why it's the world's #1 light beer, my favorite light beer, and the world's favorite light beer, because it's the perfect beer for any occasion. Matter of fact, I was hanging out in the mood, getting in the mood, and all I needed was some Bud Light to get me in the mood. So the first thing I did when I got to the movie center last night to watch the Texas basketball game and them beat down on the Zags was I got myself a nice ice-cold Bud Light. That's right. That's how you set the tempo. That's how you set the mood. And, folks, you can set the mood as well. Make sure your fridge is stocked with Bud Light. It's the world's favorite light beer, my favorite light beer. And trust me, folks, you won't regret it, especially if you're a Longhorn fan. Now you can root on the Longhorns, but also do it with your favorite beer, Bud Light. They are the official domestic beer sponsor of the University of Texas, Texas Exes, lifetime Longhorns like myself, and the Red River Showdown. And to commemorate that beautiful occasion, they have burnt orange bottles now available at your grocery store or convenience store, so make sure you pick them up. It's a special kind of thing to root on your favorite team, the Longhorns, with your favorite beer, Bud Light. But Bud Light in that burnt orange hue. It's a beautiful thing. So, folks, remember, Bud Light brewed right here in Texas since 1982 by Texans, for Texans, and proud of it. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Actually, Patrick and I were talking about Twitter, actually. Twitter's in trouble, potentially. Twitter just alerted employees that effective immediately all office buildings are temporarily closed. Badge access is suspended. No details given as to why. So they're hearing this is because Elon Musk and his team are upset that employees are going to sabotage the company. Also, they're trying to figure out which Twitter workers they need to cut access for.
Is this like, is he going full Scarface?
They said offices were going to reopen November 21st, but yet they're basically like trying to figure out who's with them and who's against them. I guess they figure there are some people.
There's some people sabotaging.
Yeah, there's people on the inside that don't like where the company's going.
Well,
I'm sure
yeah,
that's
but
true.
look, I've disliked where companies have been going I've worked for before. Never tried to sabotage
It's
them.
my job.
It was just like, cool. I'd also like to eat.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm trying to sabotage, but the tech world's a different world. I ain't in the tech world, but yeah, that's some wild stuff. So I hope Twitter doesn't end up in trouble. But right now, there's some issues right now. Okay, let's talk about the game tonight between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. This is an interesting matchup because you have right now the Tennessee Titans, who I have no idea how the Tennessee Titans are 6-3 right now.
Yeah,
it's amazing that they're 6-3. How about this? I'll give you a random number here. The Titans have one of the worst offenses in the NFL, 26th in points per game right now. So they're actually, I think, in yards per drive, they're like the worst team in the NFL in yards per drive. But their defense, it really is a tale of two different halves here, basically two different teams. Their defense is the best third down defense in the NFL. 27.9% third down conversion rate. They haven't allowed more than 17 points in regulation since week 3. They got 53 pressures in the last 2 weeks, all about their defense. That's how they win in games. Defense and running game. But even last game, the Titans were held, I think, Derrick Henry was held at 53 rushing yards. They still beat the Broncos 17-10, but it's mostly because Tannehill had 255 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it's the Broncos.
And it's the Broncos. Yeah, everybody's beating up on the Broncos. But Tennessee, listen, I don't know how, like I said, it ain't pretty, and I don't know how they're going to finish the season. But if they can keep Derrick Henry healthy, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're probably going to, they're definitely going to win that division. They're going to win the AFC South.
Well, and then you're curious about the Packers because you look at this team that has looked completely disjointed, had nothing going for it the entire season. They played the Cowboys last week. And all of a sudden, look like the Packers have a team again. Christian Watkins, people are saying that he's going to be a breakout player now, and he's finally going to get to where he's at. We saw the run offense finally start working that was touted was going to be one of the best dual back systems in football this year. Now you get a short week.
Yeah, that's short week. You never know what's going to happen on a short week.
So now are you able to go out there and still just go, okay, let's just pound the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? Or do they load up the box and say, all right, Aaron, we think you got lucky once.
That's a great
Are you going to be able to
question.
throw? We don't trust Christian Watkins is going to catch the ball now. All right, we're going to make you throw it.
Yeah, and if they do throw the Packers, how about this? The Titans, 31st ranked pass defense versus Aaron Rodgers. That's going to make them want to throw the ball. The Titans have how about this? They have the 31st ranked passing offense and the 31st ranked passing defense. So, something's got to give. And it looks like, Green Bay, their pass defense actually is pretty good. So you don't have to worry about the Titans. I guess they'll probably throw the ball more with Ryan Tannehill, but they want to run the rock with Derrick Henry. This weather's supposed to be really cold up there too. Apparently it's going to be like 30, maybe lower than 30-something degrees there as well. So it's going to be cold. I think both of the teams want to run the ball. I know the Green Bay wants to run the rock because you just talked about the two backs they have, that two-back system with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And I think the Titans, I know they want to run the rock and establish a run with Derrick Henry. So it should be a game that goes by quickly and rather low scoring. So probably take the under.
Yeah, it's Thursday Night Football too.
Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football, cold, two teams that want to run the ball. All odds are so it'll probably be 75-90.
I know what I say. And we say, but I would say the unders have been hitting all year long.
No, it's Thursday night football. It's like in
Yep.
fantasy football, you always tell people don't play players that play on Thursday because
That's true.
the numbers are just lower. You don't
That's
get
short
prep.
week. Yeah, that's short. And you hurt. I mean, you're banged up. NFL players actually do need that entire week to try to get healthy. Just like you hear
Yeah.
guys there day to day until Saturday. It's true. Like guys, they don't really know until their body.
No, and I mean,
is-
if you talk about like Sark with a great script, you don't really get much of a script on a Thursday night football that you've practiced and gone through
No.
and ran through for 2 days.
Totally agree.
And you know it backwards and forwards. You don't get those plays. You're going off of, hey, we can't play last week's playbook because they have that as well, but we're just basically going off the playbook and just calling it by ear.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Really quick little nugget for you gamblers out there, you degenerate gamblers. I'm a degenerate, it's not a gambling degenerate. But underdogs in prime time, 65% of the time they cover the number. The unders in prime time. So unders in prime time, 65% of the time. So take that under. I don't know what it is. I haven't looked at it. And the underdogs of 3+ points have covered the spread 65% this year. 65% winner against the spread. Underdogs of 3+ points. Titans, I believe, 3-point underdog versus Green Bay right now. So take the under. And something says, man, the underdogs. The underdogs have been hitting, especially underdogs and the unders and that in prime time. Combine it all. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven, let you know what's on tap for us right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We appreciate all the texters on the Specs text line. You guys are always great, so thanks for your participation. And thanks all the texters, man. It's been great today. Also, remember that if you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page. Also, don't forget Lavaca Street Bar, the downtown Lavaca Street Bar, the original Lavaca Street Bar is where we'll be having our pre-game festivities, our pre-game analysis, and also the watch party. So the party before the actual party will be at Lavaca Street Bar, and then we'll have our watch party out there as well.
And tomorrow you're out amongst people?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Patrick. Tomorrow we are out at the Twin Peaks, the Stastny location, hanging out there. So if you're in the neighborhood, come on out. We'll be starting the weekend a little bit early at Twin Peaks. All right, Patrick, what's on tap for you, brother?
Probably watching more basketball. It's basketball season. And I'll be watching the football game as well.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the football game tonight and actually start watching some more Kansas film. I'll have basically my last breakdown of how Texas can beat Kansas. It feels weird to say that, how Texas can beat Kansas.
How can they do it?
How Texas will beat Kansas. Texas will beat Kansas.
God, man, we start revenge week
off.
off.
Yeah, I have details about how Texas is going to whip the hell out of Kansas coming up tomorrow. I want to thank my man Pat for doing a great job. I want to thank my man Hart. Thank all you guys out there for listening and for your texts on the Specs text line. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves. But more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.